they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come.
It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. And let me tell you what, it is a great, great Monday. Man, we have so much to talk about. This is a Bears victory Monday. We haven't had a Bears victory Monday in God knows how long. So let me tell you, Ivan's fired up over there, boy. I'm telling you, man, we got a great show for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Guys, and if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, don't forget, please do me a favor. Do us a favor, all right? Go subscribe to our YouTube channel, SportsZone Chicago. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, SportsZone Chicago. We're trying to get our following up. Now, if you watch this on YouTube, then I guess you found us on YouTube. But listen, now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks, nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, then follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, I am fired the freak up. We have a phenomenal show for you. You know, my guy Ivan, he's doing some work, so we're going to bring him on a little later. But just want to say what's up to him because you know what, he is the guy who keeps it running smoothly. And you know, he had a really good show yesterday, so we're going to talk about his show yesterday. Actually, he's on 2 shows yesterday, so those shows went really, really well. So we want to talk to him about that. But we're going to bring him on a little bit. You got some little editing to do, some last minute stuff. So we're going to bring him on. We're going to give him time to do that before we bring him on. But man, listen, I'm telling you, whoo-wee. I'm sitting in a bar yesterday. 3 guys walk into a bar. No, I'm kidding. So I'm sitting in a bar yesterday, and I'm telling my friends, the Bears score. Okay, Bears score. They go up, and the guys are like, and first of all, I'm like, damn it, there's too much time. There was 1 minute and 50 something left. When they scored. And I was like, son of a biscuit, man. Then the guy I was sitting next to, he's like, yeah, they're out of time. And I was like, wait a minute, whoa, time out, whoa. He came to my phone. I was like, you know what? This is Detroit. They're gonna Detroit themselves. They're gonna screw it up somehow, some way. And they're going down, they're driving. They're driving down the field. And I'm like, he's like, dude, they're gonna score. I'm like, bro, they are Detroit. Trust me. If they don't screw it up, believe me, I'll take that one. He's like, they're going down, and they went down. They marched right down the field, and I'll tell you what, it was hilarious when, you know, it's hilarious now. It wasn't hilarious yesterday when the running back when DeAndre Swift had the ball and then dropped it. Oh man, you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of when I was coaching. I was coaching at Curie High School, and in 2010, we had the best team in the Chicago Public League. We won the Public League championship. We beat Morgan Park over at Gately Stadium, and we went to the Prep Bowl. Now, the Prep Bowl has lost a lot of its luster, but it used to be the game in Chicago because there really wasn't much downstate. Nobody cared. So we're playing Fenwick, and we're down 6-0. Don't get me upset on why we're down 6-0 when we're in the red zone 5 times and we don't kick field goals, but that's another story. So it's late in the game. And We've been destroying them with the run. We have 6'1", 220-pound running back, and we're killing them. And our head coach says, "Hey, we're about the 25 going in." He said, "Here's the time for a tight end pop." I'm like, "This is perfect. This is perfect. You're never gonna get it." So one of the captains, he's like, "Oh, the coach, let me go play tight end. This kid is phenomenal football player. But he's like, "No," and the head coach like, "No, our normal tight end, he'll catch it." Sure enough, so we fake the inside zone to our running back, and tight end's wide open. I'm talking a good 8 to 10 yards. Quarterback throws it, lays it right in his hands. The crowd goes crazy, like, "Yeah!" And he drops it. Oh, that was how I felt. The reverse side, the reverse of it was yesterday when I was like, "Oh, yes!" when DeAndre Swift dropped that ball. So I can empathize with him, but I knew Detroit was going to screw it up somehow, some way. So we're going to get into a lot more Bears talk. We're going to get into Cubs talk. You know what? I was telling Ivan, man, I said, if it wasn't for the Bears, I said yesterday would have been horrible because that means we'd have to lead off with the Cubs and their no-hitter. I was like, man, so all my Cub friends are, but I congratulate them online. You know, that is a very difficult feat. So, but listen, we have so much to talk about. In addition to the Bears, in addition to the Cubs, in addition to the White Sox. Wow. So let's get it started. Guys, listen, when I said I got a great show for you, I need you to get interactive with us first. So here's what I need you to do. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, and then here's what I want you to do. I need you to just leave a comment, a question or comment, just like Armando Lara did already. He said, "Good show yesterday, Ivan. Victory Monday. Bears victory Monday." Well, I guess it's Chicago victory Monday. I guess it's Chicago victory Monday since it was a clean sweep for the city for Shy City. Okay, Chicago victory Monday. I'll take it. But I need you to get interactive. Just leave a question or comment right there on the post, and I'm going to post it and put it right out here on the screen. It'll pop up as long as it's not stupid. All right, listen. But we got a great show for you today. You know how we do. Our guy Joseph Phillips, he comes on. He'll be on any second. He's in the green room. He's waiting. He's ready to roll, baby. Ready to roll. Talk about the Cubs, Sox. Oh, and there he is.
Wow, good morning.
What's up, my boy? He jumped. Ivan jumped the gun on me. I was just running down.
Yeah, it sounds like I was like, man, I'm ready. Let's.
But at 9:55, Kenneth Davis is going to take the baton from Joseph. He's going to take us from the 10 to 11 o'clock hour. At 10 o'clock, Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. He's going to call in. We're going to talk Bears football. After that, we're going to break that game down yesterday. Should Mr. Trubisky remain the starting quarterback, or is it time for Nick Foles? We're going to talk to Lester Wilfong Jr. at 10 o'clock. At 10:55, Jason Palmer is going to get the baton from Kenneth Davis. He's going to take us home and the 11 to 12 o'clock to the close of the show. But at 11 o'clock, Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com is going to call it. Good friend of the program. We're going to talk to him about that no-no. I know you and Joe, you and Ivan got to be a little happy about that no-no yesterday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No. So we're going to talk that. So Evan Altman, 11 o'clock, talking Cubs. 10 o'clock, Lester Wilfong Jr. talking Bears. And then, of course, Joseph Phillips, Kenneth Davis, and Jason Palmer all contributing throughout the show. So now you know how we do, folks. The first segment of every morning. Every show is called Top of the Morning, and these are the hot topics of the night before, or just some sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. How long has it been, baby? How long has it been? Bears victory Monday. The Bears. Oh, Nelly. The Bears with a big 27-23 victory over the Detroit Lions yesterday in Motown. Barry Gordy must have been turning in his grave again. Tell you what, it was a ugly performance by the Bears, but you know what? There's no such thing as an ugly win. Or we'll put it this way: we'll take them all. We'll take them all, big or small. No matter how you get them. They don't ask you how good looking it was. They don't ask you this. They don't count for style points. Did you win or did you lose? And the Bears yesterday, put it this way: I don't think the Bears won so much as Detroit lost. Mr. Trubisky yesterday was abysmal for the first three quarters. he looked like I was yelling like, get him out, get him out, get him out, get him out. And then he said, hold on, what? Hold my beer. Fourth quarter, my man comes out looking like Superman. This, you know what? This is the frustrating part when you see Mitch Trubisky perform like that. Okay, perform like that. That's what gives you hope, and that's what strings you along. That fourth quarter yesterday, Mitch Trubisky looked amazing. That touchdown pass to Miller. I'm telling you what, I posted, and I knew people were going to come and give me static about it. I said that throw was perfect. There could not have been a better throw from any quarterback in the league. And then, well, what about his other? I said, no. I said, that's what people do when they want to deflect. I said, I'm just talking about this throw right here from him to Miller was a thing of beauty. You talk about what did I put yesterday? Let me get it straight, because I put it and people were just livid. They want to come at me like, yeah, well, he did this, he did that. I said, listen, I'm just talking about the one throw. That's all. Here it is. I said, just the Mitch TD to Miller. Perfect throw. He looked so calm in the pocket. His release was effortless. His feet were solid, and his follow-through was textbook. Too bad the majority of his throws aren't that fundamentally sound. Your thoughts, Joe?
Wow. Well, I got to give it to Mr. Trubisky. It looks like he was playing backwards yesterday. I guess he treated the fourth quarter like it was the first quarter, because that's what time he actually woke up after three quarters. And when he woke up and he put those touchdowns on the board, 21 unanswered points. What an amazing feat. And wow, I'm still in shock. Like I told my mother-in-law yesterday, I said, today is your day. We invited her over to the house. And first, the Cubs was throwing a no-hitter. Then I turned the station, and I'm watching. I'm like, babe, they're actually about to come back. I'm like, what is going on? Here comes Trubisky throwing bombs down the field, putting the game away in Motown. And I knew it was a trick to it because on Friday, I think it was Friday or Saturday, someone sent the Bears a pair of Air Jordans in memory of the Pistons and Bulls rivalry. So
that was the coach, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace.
Yeah,
they bought the entire team and staff. They all bought them Air Jordans, and I thought that was pretty cool because they're white with orange highlights on them for obviously the Bears colors, blue and orange. Yeah, those are pretty dope.
Yeah, so that was a Jordan-like comeback. That took place. It was the mics. It's the mics that Mitch was rocking. So he's like, "Hey, I got to be
your money. It's got to be the shoes, money. It's got to be the shoes. Do you know?
Got to be clutch in the fourth quarter like Mike." So that's all I can say about Money Mitch.
Hey, you know what? Real quick, the top of the morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader, and that's why our guy Joseph Phillips is with us. He's a sports editor for the Chicago Crusader, and that's why he joins us every show, because we are powered by the Chicago Crusader. And you know what? I was very disappointed in that performance yesterday by the Bears. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving this win back. You can call it ugly. You can call it the Bears didn't win. The Lions lost. You can say whatever you want. Just make sure you call them the first place Bears right about now, okay? They don't ask you. You know what? There's an old saying, and Kendall – one of my old football coaches said this, but Kendall Gills kind of got a little more traction on it with his running club. They don't tell me how rocky the ocean is. Just bring the ship in, okay? And that's it. And they don't ask you, well, did you win? Did you look good while you win? Did you? No. They ask you, did you win or lose? Bottom line, all right. We all come upon adversity, okay? And we have to deal with it. Okay, so sometimes you see pitchers don't have their best stuff, and they have to find a way. They realize they don't have the first stuff in the first inning or two. I'm like, damn, I know I got to go 6 or 7 today. They have to make a way. Okay, in life, we got to make a way when things don't go our way. And yesterday, the Bears made a way. They found a way. Okay, they found a way. And yes, there was some help. We got some divine intervention. The rookie running back dropping that ball, going in the end, not even going in the end zone.
Right.
But he would hold on to it in his game.
Right.
But you know what? The fact of the matter is the Bears came back, and I'm telling you, that victory could propel this team to do some really good things. I don't know about great things, but good things.
And I was glad to see that the defense, got an actual game under their belt, because I knew their timing was going to be off. I knew kudos to the offensive line, though. I want to say shout out to them. They looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
In spite of Trubisky's horrible first 3 quarters, he just wasn't making his throws. And I saw a few drop passes, but other than that, the offensive line played better than the defensive line. I have to give shout out to them because I was very surprised. Looked like they came the ball yesterday. And
Hey, Joseph.
they were key. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The rushing game.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears rushed for about 150 yards yesterday. When was the last time the Bears rushed for about 150 yards? They were on the ground. They were controlling it. And we talked about it the weeks leading up to the show. Is Matt Nagy going to make a concerted effort to the run game? Yesterday he did. Right. One day he's not going to say he's committed to the run. That's silly. But yesterday he did. If he continues to do that, it's going to be a much better season than if he doesn't.
Right, and that takes a lot of pressure off of Mitch Trubisky. You don't always have to make cowboy throws across his body or on a run, which is his strengths. He likes to make throws on rollouts, and that's when he's operating mostly in his strengths. I know most of the passes he made yesterday that were accurate, they were on rollouts, and that was a good sign. And also, they need to keep mixing up those play actions too, because it looks like he's good on those play actions too, which leads to a lot of rollouts. So Bears look good. Cubs look good.
Yeah, we're going to go there. We're going to go there.
First time since 2008 that all Chicago teams, Bears, Cubs, and Sox are in first place. Go Bears, go Cubs, go Sox.
Whoa! You better watch your head. Watch your head. You check your neck. Your wife might be throwing something at you. Don't mention.
I know. She got over yesterday. She told me, "Hey, there's no Cubs allowed on this page." I said, "I know, babe, but I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating the facts. That's all, baby. Just the facts.
Just the facts, man. Just the facts." I'll tell you what. We're going to get into the Bears a little more, but it was it was a frustrating game. There were some things that I didn't like about it. Mitch was still very inconsistent in the first 3 quarters. It was really a lot of what was going on the last couple of years with Mitch. And I'll tell you what, we were going nuts. Me personally, I was going nuts at the bar. Again, I'm kind of a football snob when it comes to that. And I usually don't go to serious. I usually don't like to talk to people in bars because they'll say Trubisky sucks. Okay, well, why? Because he sucks. He can't have a receiver. And then you say okay, and then Tom Brady had bad passes, Drew Brees, but these guys have bad passes too. So it's frustrating when I hear people, well, he sucks. Why? Because he sucks, and he shouldn't have got him. Why? Because he sucks. Okay, all right. I'm gonna move my chair over there because I can't stand
it. He didn't throw any interceptions yesterday. Praise God.
No, he didn't.
No interceptions. Or he threw for over 200 yards, 3 TDs. So, like I said, he played the game backwards yesterday. Like instead of him having a good first quarter, he had a great fourth quarter, and then everything else went up from there. Normally, you're supposed to come out on top and then let everything go down from there. But like I said, I prefer him to finish strong in the fourth quarter, close it out like Mike in the clutch, and now we're 1-0 in the NFC North.
Yes, we are. Trubisky 20-36, 242 yards, 3 tutties with a 104.2 quarterback rating. He has 3 different receivers on all of his touchdown passes, and I thought that was great. He hit Javon Wims, my guy. Miller again, and then also, wow, I was really happy to see Jimmy Graham, but my guy, I was super happy to see Javon Wims get a touchdown pass.
Yeah,
I was really, I was pumped up for that.
He deserved that. Yeah, he's been working hard. Being in and out of the practice squad. Being second string. He finally got his hands in his first career TD. Correct, first career TD as a Bear. So shout out to Javon and shout out to Mooney too. I like Mooney. Is it Mooney?
You know what, Darnell Mooney? You're right. Yeah, I liked him a lot. He's got a little. He's got a little shape.
Go, man. I mean, I was like, look at this little skinny guy. He was stopping and going, boom, putting a little juke here, a little juke there, and he was making the catches. And that's all that matters to me. As long as you're not dropping the ball, I don't care how fast you are. Don't drop the ball. And it looked like this kid got some hands. And he showed some speed. And also shout out to, is that Jalen Johnson, the corner.
Quarterback. Yep.
Man, he actually helped us win the game. You know, made a few key plays. He looked like Peanut Tillman out there a little bit. At 33, I was like, Peanut. Oh no, that's not Peanut. That's Jay. You know, so I was just like, okay, Double J. We're gonna have to call him Double J because he gonna shut down those corners. They started coming at him, man, and he got embarrassed on one play when he got trucked. By that wide receiver. But he made up for it. You know, he was like, okay, welcome to the NFL, rookie.
Hey, you know what? He made ESPN on his first game.
That's right. That's right. He got trucked, baby. But he got up, man. He was a man's man, and he never backed down from Matthew Stafford.
I tell you what, you're right. He didn't, and it was. I was not concerned, but I was interested to see how they were going to go at him, and he knew it. He's like, I'm a rookie. He goes, you got a quarterback, a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford, and they're going to come at me. He goes, I would come after a rookie and see what he's got. And he stuck his nose in there. He played like a rookie at times. He played well. He played like a veteran other times. And I'll tell you what, I like the attitude. I like the moxie. I like the defiance that he has. He's a cornerback. I'm a bad man, jamma. You're gonna get me sometimes, but guess what? I'm gonna get you sometimes too. And I think that's the thing that I really, really like about him is that his ability, his confidence, and it's gonna show as he gets better because you can see the confidence now in Kyle Fuller. Right. Man, Kyle Fuller. Let's talk about this guy 5 years ago. Man, that ain't the same dude wearing number 24, number 23, wearing that. He's got confidence. He's made a Pro Bowl. He was challenged back early in his career, remember, by Vic Fangio, telling him, he didn't really want, I don't know what this guy's doing. And he basically called him out. He put him on Front Street. And Kyle Fuller, it was his contract year. Kyle Fuller really stepped up. And, hopefully Jalen Johnson can step up and get into the stratosphere of a Kyle Fuller, because if he does, guess what? We're going to have two really, really, really good cornerbacks, and one's really young and locked up on a rookie deal.
And speaking of Jalen Johnson and Kyle Fuller, actually, they were the reason why we were in position to win the game yesterday, because Jalen Johnson, he put his arm out there, deflected the pass.
Well, him and Eddie Jackson. I don't know who it was, but they're right there. Yeah.
He deflected in the air, and then here comes Killer Cal, coming out of nowhere, to make the interception. And Cal has a football pedigree. He coming from a family of tough football players, so. He's starting to lead that crew, because it was a time when his brother was in front of him. Now he's starting to make that leadership known in his family. Yeah,
there were three Fuller boys in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Man, you talk about if I'm a dad, you're like, that's some good stock right there, boy. That's some good stock. 3 of them. That's my boys. Not one, not two, all 3 of them. In the NFL, and you as a dad, you gotta be like, that came from me, baby.
That's right. That's my seed.
Oh man. So yeah, you know what? It was a great day for a victory. Again, it was ugly, and I'm not gonna put lipstick on a pig and say it was a great victory, but it was a victory, and I'm going to take it. The one thing that we talked about that we were happy about was the run game. Okay, they made a concerted effort in the run. David Montgomery looked really good. 13 carries, 64 yards. Tariq Cohen, they added him 7 for 41. Mighty Mouse was doing his thing yesterday. Even Cordell Patterson, four touches for 19 yards. They average 5.3 yards a carry. When's the last time? You know what I mean? And when you're busting about $150 on the ground for the Bears, that's a good day at the office. And if Matt Nagy continues to do that again, because I'm not convinced, I'm not a believer yet that he's decided to do this. He did it for one game. Let me see that consistently a little more. All right, I like the mixing in of Montgomery, who's the workhorse, and then Tariq Cohen, and then Cordell. I like that mixing in. Keep that up.
Yeah, that 3-back offense. And I shout out to Adrian Peterson yesterday.
Oh, come on, man. He's a monster.
I mean, he looked like old AP yesterday, man. And I think he was kind of like getting like visions in his head of Barry Sanders. He's like, man, I got this Lions uniform on. Let me try some of these old school Barry Sanders moves, who we probably looked up to growing up. But shout out to AP, holding it down in the L yesterday.
Man, you know what? We do have to talk about Adrian Peterson. And the thing that I was really concerned about is Adrian Peterson kills us. When he was in Minnesota, when he was at Washington, that dude just killed us. And I was really concerned about that a lot yesterday when they brought him in. First run, then the 20-something yard run, then he's running people over, then he's cutting and leaving people in the dust, reaching for air. I'm like, oh man. I said, is it going to be the AP show? Is he all day like we know him to be all day? I was like, because if they start running him and continually run him, it's going to be a long day for the Bears. And luckily he didn't run. I mean, first of all, he came up 7 yards short of 100. He finished up with 93 yards yesterday. So the Bears have to do a much better job against the run. But AP yesterday looked good. And Matt Nagy had some comments on the game about the game yesterday afterwards. Check it out.
Hey, Matt, what gave you a sense when you got into the fourth quarter that Mitch had kind of found his groove? Was there a throw in there, a play in there that kind of got you the sense that you guys can really go after it here?
Not necessarily, JJ, but for us, I thought he did a really good job in the pocket in the first two quarters into the third. But what we were struggling with was the third downs, the dropbacks, and getting into those 3rd and 7 pluses. But our play action when he was in the pocket, he was pretty spot on. He did miss. I think he missed one dagger throw over the middle. And then Jimmy Graham, we had a couple that they're working through that connection there, but they're going to get that down. But not necessarily one play more than I think you could just sense that, hey, we're down 17 points. We got to really keep a close eye on this clock. And we had to pick the tempo up. And it just was we were forced into doing that.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, obviously we're not allowed downstairs in the locker room right now. Can you describe for us what the atmosphere in the locker room was? Is there a version of Club Dub open? And what did you say to the guys when you got in there?
Yeah, no, right away, Dan, when I got in there, it was going strong. I mean, the guys were ready for it. We've been talking about it. They're excited to be able to enjoy a victory. To start out for us, our first time, and it sounds like 7 years that we started off 1-0. I'm just so happy for them. Our coaches were excited in there. They were well experienced in that Club Dub there. That atmosphere was fun. It went on, and then at the end, we just, like always, we were able to get a nice little breakdown, a couple booms in there, and then break it down and get ready to enjoy tonight, but then focus on the Giants for next week. But it was great.
Kevin Fishbane.
And Matt, the touchdown Anthony looked a little bit kind of reminiscent of his big catch last year at Ford Field. What did you see that on that play from your vantage point, both from Mitch and from Anthony?
Well, what I love about our guys and our team, and me being around more of the offensive guys during the game, is they're coming over to me and they're telling me, I can beat this guy, I can beat that guy. And when you have that input and you have that confidence from your players, you love that as a coach. And so Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson, all these other wide receivers that were over there, they really like their matchups. And then of course you got to make the throw. So I just appreciate their willingness to keep fighting. No one ever had their head down. They didn't care about the score. They just know they wanted an opportunity to get the ball. And then when you get that opportunity, you got to make the most of it. They did that. Mitch made the throws, whatever it was, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But when we needed it most, the guy stepped up. And sometimes that's how you win. And we did that today.
That was Matt Nagy talking about the game, post-game, talking about the mentality of the guys. He talked about them never being down. He talked about them, just believing in themselves, and that's dire. That's dire. In any team, any sports team, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, it doesn't matter. You can't just because you get down doesn't mean that you fold up shop and you turn it in. And those guys refuse to quit. And I'll tell you what, if they can give me that effort, all right, we got to get more consistent. But if they can give me that effort, I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be a good year. Well, listen, let's take our first break of the show. And on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So we have Bears to talk. But don't forget, at 10 o'clock, we're talking Lester Wilfong Jr. Talking Bears. He's from Windy City Gridiron. But we have more sports conversation coming up next, more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The 3-1 pitch on the way. A swing and a ground ball toward the middle. Baez has it, throws to first. Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills.
That was how it sounded on the Cubs radio network. Alec Mills with baseball's second no-hitter of the year. 12-0 at Milwaukee. Mills improving to 5-3 with the win. He struck out 5 along the way. White Sox ace Lucas Giolito threw baseball's other no-hitter this season against Pittsburgh on August the 15th. As for the White Sox on Sunday, they beat the Tigers 5-2. Eloy Jimenez with a homer. Yon Moncada with 3 hits. Winners of 4 straight, Chicago has a 1-game lead over Minnesota in the AL Central. The Bears open the season with a 27-23 win at Detroit. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him? I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support, from hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs!
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We're joined by sports editor of the Chicago Crusader, Joseph Phillips himself. He joined us every show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from the 9 to 10 o'clock hour and talking at our top of the morning segments, which is powered by the Chicago Crusader. Before we go any further, guys, I want to say I want to wish a happy birthday to my buddy, my buddy's son. He's just turned 23. And you see him, he comments often on here. Armando Lara III is my buddy's son. Armando Lara Jr. is a buddy. We played ball together, and I'll never forget that I met Armando my first year with the Chargers, and it was kind of, you talk about a rough time for him. His mom passes away early in September, and then his son is born about a week or so later. His first child. So you talk about a whirlwind of emotions, and I'll never forget, seeing the kid. So I've watched the kid grow up, for all his entire life. Actually, even before he was born, I remember his mom, Patty Jr.'s, Armando's wife, being pregnant at the games. And, so I remember Armando even before he was in his third. So it's his 23rd birthday. He just became a father himself. So I just want to wish him a happy birthday. And, it's 23 years. It's gone by in a blink, man. I'll tell you, it's crazy knowing him and just watching him grow, man. It was nuts. It was really, really crazy seeing this kid. I'm really happy for him where he's at right now and where he's going.
Happy birthday to you, brother. Happy birthday.
Well, the next top of the morning topic, we're gonna go right down your street, Joseph, Ivan. The Cubs, as you heard on the update, the Cubs with a bruising 12-0 victory over the Brewers. Man, they beat them like they stole something, man.
Wow.
I'll tell you, but you know what? And that's not even bad. That's not even the worst part, dude. The worst part is Alec Mills said, just for that, we ain't gonna give you a hit. It's fine, man. If you get beat 12-0, you got 3 or 4 or 5 hits. No. Alec Mills shut him down yesterday. Alec Mills threw the 16th no-hitter in Chicago Cubs history yesterday, and not really a lot of strikeouts. 10 ground balls, 5 strikeouts. He did it, putting the ball in play. And I'll tell you what, this was what's up, something the Cubs need, because you know what, this might be the spark. Okay, it's a spark that they need, because there's no hitters they don't happen to die, every year. Okay, right. They don't. As a matter of fact, this year it has happened. The White Sox and the Cubs are the only 2 teams in Major League Baseball with a no-hitter this year, which I thought was awesome. Right. But this could catapult them into kind of snapping this little funk that some of their players are in. The Rizzos, the Bryants, the Baez, the Contreras. Those guys really aren't carrying this team. It's the other guys, Ian Haps, okay, those type of people. And I'll tell you what, huh?
I said the new generation. This is the future Cubs. Like, the old core, sometimes the old core are stuck in the past, but the new core Cubs guys are starting to step up, because they're just like, look, we're going to be here for a long time. I know your contracts expire in 2022, some of you guys in 2023, but some of us will be here longer than that. So they're making their marks now, and 2 of the guys are definitely Ian Happ and Alec Mills. So shout out to both of them too.
David Bodie had 3 ribbies yesterday. Happ had 2. Caratini had 3. J.A. had 1. Kipnis had 2. So you talk about they're a plethora of spreading the wealth. They spread the wealth, and then to add insult to injury, Alec Mills was just he was just dealing, and the fact, and I was teasing my buddy, because I love to tease you Cub fans, and so I was getting the updates. I'm at the I'm watching the game, and I'm getting the updates. Alec Mills has a no through 7. I'm like, okay, let's see. Okay, Alec Mills has a no through 8. I'm like, oh damn. I was like, okay. So then I'm on a group text with 3 other guys. One's a Sox fan, so it's 2 and 2, and the other 2 are 2 other Sox fans, and one of them's a Cub fan. So we always give the Cub fan some static. And I was like, hey, do you know that Alec Mills has a no-hitter after 8 innings? And then the other guy texts him too, hey Paul, the Cubs pitcher's throwing a no-hitter after 8 innings. Turn it on.
This is a special year, Shawn, because this is a special year, man. I'm doing a story actually on both teams for the first time in Major League Baseball history. Both Chicago teams did something special in the month of August and September, and they actually threw no-hitters. And the amazing thing is that's never been done before by 2 Chicago teams in the same season. So this is a special season, man. I gotta say it's a special season.
It really is, and this really lends credence to, it gives more fuel to the fire about a Cubs Sox World Series. And I know there's a long way to go. The Sox haven't even won the division yet. Okay, they got 4 big ones. They're a game up on Minnesota, and they got a 4-game set starting today. But 2020 is crazy, man, and that would not surprise me if that came to pass. It really wouldn't. So when you see things like that, those are just signs like, man, is this the year? Right. Is it going to be the year that this craziness happens? Right. And all we got to do is sit and wait and find out. Ivan?
Look, man, I didn't even know. I forgot they were even playing. Actually, my buddy had to remind me yesterday that they were playing. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh, yeah, 4-0, 5-0. I'm like, all right, cool. The hitting's coming around. I had no clue Alec Mills was throwing a no-hitter. Like, I was so focused on
Did I let you know when I texted you?
You did, too. I was like, whoa. I was like, he is. I was like, well, I'll be. Because like I was so focused and like so pumped for this Bears comeback that I was just like Cubs. Okay, you got 15 more games. Game one, open kickoff. Like let's go. I'm locked in. I'm all on Bears. But it was crazy to hear about it. It was crazy to think you punished that team. Like that, you took Milwaukee. That's it. I think Milwaukee's done. You can stick a fork in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Here, Milwaukee is out of it. The Cubs put them away, and I like to see that. Laying down a hammer, I like to see that.
Yelich be talking a lot of trash, and I've never really seen him defeated. Like he put his head down and walked into the dugout like this. I said, yeah, there's no more stealing pitches, but I think we broke the straw that broke the camel's back was on Saturday night when Josh Hader came out there. We thought he was about to shut us down, and we sent that ball out the park. Jay Hay had to send that ball out the park into the Toyota zone, the Toyota car zone. And then after Jay Hay came up, Vargas came up at them and put that ball out of the park on top of that. And we let those Brewers know we don't have to have fans at your stadium to beat you. We'll beat you with no fans in the stadium.
We'll beat you in the parking lot. We'll beat you in the open field. We don't care. We don't care.
Scrap. Put him up.
Hey, this is the most fired up I've seen Joe Phillips since he's been on. That's the most fired up I've seen Joe Phillips since he's been on.
I hate the Brewers, man. They get on my nerves, man. 1 down, 2 more to go. First the Brewers, and then after the Brewers, then the Cardinals, and then after the Cardinals, we coming for your boys, Shawn. We coming for your boys, man.
Oh, yeah.
They've been a thorn in our flesh, man. We know what the Sox been doing to us. They've been kicking our butts lately, and we don't like that. We have to send a message to them, too.
Oh, my boy, the White Sox, you talking?
And you know this, man.
Hey, don't sing it.
Yeah.
Sing it. I finally got some boys behind me. I finally got a squad behind me. You were able to talk all that yin yang for years, since 14 or 15. You were able to talk all that yin yang, and Sox fans couldn't say nothing.
No. Before 16, there was still that 05 was still being held on to. There was no doubt, and some Sox fans' hearts and mouths, 05 was still yesterday.
It was, but I'm saying once you guys had that squad, you guys started playing well in 15, and then that's when it was rejuvenated again. Oh my gosh, it was rejuvenated again. And we went to the NLCS. Next year's the World Series, and then you won the World Series. I was like, oh. Then next year you go to NLCS again, like 3 years in a row. Have you guys ever seen an NLCS? When's the last? Since 05, and oh man, so it was frustrating. So now I got my squad. Now I got Louis Robert. Eloy Jimenez is your rounds third. I got Lou Robert when he rounds third. I got Jose Abreu when he rounds third.
Yeah. We like that.
And then I got Yoel Moncada when he rounds third.
Tell Jay Pa. I know he's kind of like confident right now because the Sox did what they did to us at Wrigley. We ain't forgot, brother.
Oh, you didn't forget?
No, I'm not drinking. And no, I'm not drinking. Okay? We coming for you. And you better get your boys out. We coming for you.
I told you. Hey, you know where we're at? We're one train ride away, Papa. Just hop on the red line. You don't even got to get off. No transfer or nothing. Just wait till you hit 35th. That's it. You get off. We're there. We'll be there waiting for you. No fans at all. Hey, we're used to playing in front of no fans, so ain't no thing to us. That's a home game to us. That's a home game. Why do you think we did so well?
We'll see y'all at the end of the season. We're going to see y'all. And we want to see y'all after the end of the season.
Hey, I like it. 2 more series. Won the last one of the regular season. Won the last series of the baseball season. I'm liking where that's going. Well, listen, we got to keep it moving. We got to keep it rolling. The next top of the morning topic. I was excited to watch this game, but I kept having to bring myself back to reality. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay, fall to the New Orleans Saints, okay? And if you didn't know, if you've been under a rock recently and you don't know why that game was important to a lot of people, then, God help you, all right? But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or Tampa Tom, if you didn't realize, Tom Brady decided to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the offseason, and his first game is against the defending NFC South champion New Orleans Saints, and it's Brady and Breeze, the 2 oldest quarterbacks in the NFL. 43 and 42, I believe, 42, 41, something like that. And the New Orleans Saints gave it to him. But I'll tell you this. They looked like a team, and here's what I had to remember. I had to remember that there's no OTAs. Okay, I had to remember there's no real offseason. There were no preseason games. So in order for Tom Terrific to get on the same page, it's going to take time. You don't just go to a new team. And how many things did we saw? We saw the interception by Tom. One of the interceptions by Tom. What might look like Mike Evans cut his route off. Okay, and it looked like it was going to be up the seam, and Mike he cut it off. Tom thought he threw it to a spot where he was going to be, and he stopped. Okay, they're just not on the same page. I didn't hear Gronk's name once yesterday. I will tell you this: I like Leonard Fournette in there. But they got to get on the same page. You know, Michael Evans didn't have a catch. He was targeted 7 times, I think it was, and he didn't have a catch till later in the game, like the third or fourth quarter. They just got to get on the same page, and I knew it was going to be something similar to that because you just didn't have it. You didn't have that time to practice. There was no summer for these guys. You know, the first pass had me confused. At first third down pass by Tom Brady, where he threw it over the shoulder. He dropped it right into the bucket. Right in the bucket. Receiver stepped out of bounds. You know, he caught it, stepped out of bounds for a first down. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, this is just Tom. But then as the game went on, you just saw his lack of chemistry with his receivers. Because I'll tell you what, when Goodwin and Mike Evans get on the same page as Tom Brady, okay, they're going to be something. But it was an ass whooping by the hands of the New Orleans Saints. You know what they said? Hey, we run the South. We run the South. You know, you're from up north in another conference. We run it down here. So until they can beat the Saints, you know, the Saints are still a team. The Saints are still king of the hill.
That's right. And Drew Brees never gets old, man. I watched him yesterday. I mean, just he's so polished. He's so amazing. And it's why he's the top 5 all-time quarterback in NFL history. You know, he was fearless yesterday. And then also with Tom Brady, like I tell people, I always call the Patriots the Patriots, you know, because they used to steal everybody's playbook, you know, very similar to the Houston Astros. So I never gave Tom Terrific the credit that most people give him today. So yesterday was day one of the expose of him without Belichick and the rest of the New England Patriots and his cheating staff.
Joseph is not.
I had to go in on Tommy Terrific today. I'm sorry, man. I couldn't hold it back. I ain't holding back.
I mean, honestly, Leonard Fournette, he only had five carries for 5 yards. I mean, I get it. It's kind of sudden. He's on a new team. Maybe he needs to get acclimated with the playbook. But Tom wasn't looking too good. I mean, he ended with halfway decent stats, but 2 picks isn't good. A QBR of 84.4, 23 to 36, 63.9 percentage, completion percentage, 239 yards. It looked worse than that, I would say. It looked worse. It looked even worse than that to me.
Part of it is that, you know, who's calling the plays is you can't ask Tom to do things he can't do. Like that first pick was horrible. Okay, you have Tom Brady, a 42-year-old quarterback on the left hash, and you want him to throw an out route to the wide side of the field. Tom Brady's never had a cannon for an arm. He's never had it. Never. Okay, when he came into the league. Okay, and then you're going to ask the guy now that he's 42 years old to make that throw from the left hash to the wide side of the field? Come on, man. That's just, you know, he's got to go back to the OC and say, look, don't do that spit to me again. Don't have me throw this or don't call this play, okay? Because I am just not – first of all, I've never had a strong arm. Now that I'm 42, my arm still isn't – it's even less strong. It's even weaker than it was back when I was in my prime. So don't put me in that position again, okay? And then as receivers, he's got to say, you have to trust me, okay? They just got – and the only way you get experience is by playing together. And so there's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some miscommunication like you saw yesterday. But I'll tell you what, as they start going, as they start getting in sync, watch, Gronk's going to start. He's going to come back a little bit. He's going to start making some noise. It's not simple. You're away from the game for a year, and you want to come back. It takes time. You got and again, COVID really fudged it all up with no time, and you just can't do that. Football is not basketball, okay, where you can get in the gym and you can hoop or you can shoot. There's nothing you can do individually. Okay, it all needs to be a team. Everybody needs to be there. You can work on your jump shot by yourself. You don't need anybody. Okay, and you can come back and you can help the team. Okay, but football is not like that. Everybody has to be together. Everything has to be working in unison. All 11 people, rolling the same way at the same time in the same direction. And you saw that it's not that for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet. But I'll tell you what, you got a leader. Tom said in an interview, he's like, I lost a lot of games in my career. He goes, this is just another one. He said, I'm not worried about it. We're going to come back. We're going to look at the tape and we'll fix it. What he said was, I'll make sure everybody's on the same God blessed page, because this spit ain't happening again, because I'm Tom Mickey Ficky Brady. I got a legacy to uphold, and there's been no quarterback who's won a Super Bowl, no starting quarterback who's won a Super Bowl with two different teams. A couple have been close, but he wants to be the first.
He has I'm sorry, go ahead.
Gronk only had two receptions for 11 yards, and then you had Fournette with 1 for 14. But when you go out and get these guys to produce, like, you expect them to produce. And I understand it's a new team and everything. It's a shortened season, but at a certain point, it's like five rushes, 5 yards. So you got one rush, or you got 1 yard every rush. Every rush, that's not going to do it. And then Gronk not being targeted, or being targeted only twice. I don't think that's something that's going to benefit.
Don't forget, Jones. The running back Jones had 17 carries. So right now, Leonard Fournette is not the main dude in the backfield. I understand, but when you're still 22 carries in there. Brady ran once or twice, which is shocking. You're not going to want to do that too often. But you got your one dude, and who knows, how caught up Leonard Fournette is. And I hate to say this, and it sounds real bad, but sometimes people it takes a while for people to get to pick up an offense. Everybody's not as smart as some people, okay? And I don't know how well Leonard Fournette picked up that offense, okay? I don't know. Maybe, and it seems like it sounds pretty easy. Well, you just they tell you what hole to run to and you run the ball, but it's not just that. It's also understanding your blockers, he's got to understand how his offensive line blocks. They have to understand how he runs. All right, they understand. The majority of the offensive line know how their running back, their starter runs, but you don't know how this guy runs. And it's a process, okay? And that has to happen. So the only way that it can happen is time. Jamar Harp says Brady was throwing lollipops. Yeah, dude, Brady doesn't throw fastballs. Mm-hmm. Okay, he doesn't throw fastballs. And if he does, it's on a slant. That's the only time he throws a fastball is on a slant or a comeback. But if it's an out, if it's a corner route, if it's a post, if it's a go, anything more than 20 yards, it's lollipops. He throws it to a spot, and you have to get there.
So my point is that you only had 66 rushing yards from an actual running back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear Brady scrambled for 9. I want to hear Ronald Jones Jr. ran for 75, and Leonard Fournette added another 63, added another 84, added another touchdown. I want to see that. That would have helped the Buccaneers more than just letting Tom try to take over. It felt like they wanted to let Tom take over and like have this like storybook beginning to the season, because they've been overhyping everybody. They've been overhyping them since the beginning. So it's like, on paper they're a good team, but Tom's old. The team is, it's really inconsistent if you really want to, be real about it. But you have to have a running game. You got that dude to run the football. You got a big bruising power running back to run in between the tackles, and I can't have a running back only rush for 5 yards on 5 carries.
Well, I just wanted to add this in. Here's the deal, okay? Tom Brady, it's over for him, okay? I just want to say this. He has a target on his back, okay? He's no longer in that cheating system that he was in New England. He no longer has the offensive line to protect a lot of his flaws. Now you're about to see the real Tom Brady. The Tom Brady that most people have been overrated throughout his career. The Tom Brady that Bill Belichick has tailored plays to fit his game over the years. And also, like I said, most of the stuff the New England Patriots were doing was cheating. Let's not forget about all this stuff. And then in addition to that, teams are coming for him just for that reason. You haven't seen nothing yet. You think New Orleans came at him yesterday? Every week he's going to have a target on his back just because of the things he did in his past. So Tom Brady, I think he has a bounty on his head. No offense to Tom Brady, but I think they're going to be coming at him every Sunday. No lie.
Yes.
You know what? And I'll tell you this. If you do come at him, you better come at him now. So I'll tell you, after week 4, I think it should all be on the same page at that particular point. It might be week 3 because, preseason games, it's usually one or two series the first game, 1 or 2 series the second game. First half, the third game, you usually don't play the fourth game. So now you're getting 2 and 3 whole games in there. We're talking week 3, maybe toward the end of week 2, week 3, but week 4, if you don't get your shots in on him now, okay, then we'll see when he's able to unload and he's able to connect with Mike Evans. He's able to connect with Goodwin. He's able to connect with Gronk. When he can turn the ball, when Leonard Fournette gets a better understanding of the lineman and the run game and the run scheme. So now not only do you have Evans running, not Evans, what was their starting running? What's their running back's name? Jones. So not only do you got Jones who's familiar with it, now you got Leonard Fournette, and he brings a different type of style behind that offensive line. So yeah, I get you. You want to get people may want to come after Brady. That's okay. Wait till they get on the same page. All of a sudden, watch what you ask for because you just might get it.
One thing I saw yesterday throughout the league was just everybody started out like molasses. It's just really slow. It was almost like the beginning of a fight. You know what I'm saying? You're feeling each other out, but a lot of teams are just. It just looks like they were just spinning their tires. You know what I'm saying?
Remember,
they could have got, and I understand why. I understand why, and I think we're going to continue to see that. But I think we'll see that until about week 3. Everybody's already got that. They're in
football shape. They're not in football shape. You haven't had any preseason games.
Right.
Right. They haven't run around. They haven't hit anybody. They haven't really played football. So I would expect this to continue. I would expect a slow start. I didn't like how the Bears started out slow, like 3 quarters, and then decided to turn it on. I hope we don't see that, but I think we might see that with not just the Bears, but I think throughout the league until about like week 4.
It's going to be. I mean, there are a few teams who came out like gangbusters. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers was one dude who came out like gangbusters, but then he's throwing to Devontae Adams, and they got a connection for the last few years. Okay, so that does it. That's like riding a bike when you have people similar to that. Tom Brady, new team, new system. Drew Brees looked good. All right, same receivers. All right, and Alvin Kamara, he didn't need to win the game because Alvin Kamara and some of the other guys were really going to work. So I agree with you, but don't forget there's football. There's in shape, coming to camp in shape, and then there's football shape. Right. And the only way you get in football shape is by playing football.
That's right.
That's it. And so you're going to see a lot. When there's an offense or defense that's out there a long time, and it doesn't even have to be as long as normal. You're going to get tired because you don't have that wind. You don't have that stamina built up yet. And if you're able, and this is why I thought it was very good for the Bears to establish that run game yesterday to tire out that Detroit Lion defensive line, because you're going side to side, you're getting gutted up the middle. It takes a toll on you, not just physically but emotionally. When you're getting gutted up between the tackles. And David Montgomery's getting 4 or 5, and the Bears are averaging 5+. It does a number on you. And with the physical, the limitation that you have because you're not in shape, that'll bring down your mentals quickly when you're doing that. So we're going to see if they continue to run the ball and make sure that certain people are not in shape as well. Well, listen, we got to go because we're gonna be backed up here. Hey, Joseph. Good stuff, Papa. We will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to bring in our guy for a hot second. He is from That's Davis, and he's a good friend of the program. You can find him at That's Davis. Guys, bring in Kenneth Davis. Kevin, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's going on with you two this morning, man? How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Good to see y'all, man. Good. Hope y'all both had good weekends. I know yesterday was a bit concerning for the most of the game. I want to tweet out around the third, like, man, I should just turn this crap off, even though I was going to lie in the tweet. It was clearly going to be a lie. But it was like, I mean, you went to the first half. It's funny, watching the first half of the Bears game, even though they had the score was low, it was like, you know what? The defense is doing their thing and they're sticking to the run. Because that's one thing that Shawn and I, we've been talking about consistently really for like 4 months. We really going back to last year. That's been one of the things that we've been like, run the ball. And I mean, to actually see them like, we're going to do it. Shawn, you always talk about 30 touches, 30 carries regardless. That's going to happen. And to see them do that and let Mitch
48 carries.
Yeah, but also to see the offensive line. I mean, listen, I will say this, to be honest with you, the two best parts of that game yesterday was that we were really looking at, I would say, is offensive line play. And I kind of moved Mitch off of this and running the ball. You know, like Mitch definitely played better at the last quarter, but we were concerned about the offensive line play. And the pocket was clean for the most part, as far as in the passing situation. It wasn't a situation where, I mean, there were some times where there were pressures, but sometimes Mitch was just being Mitch. And when he should have been he should have just been taken off, he starts to sit there and scramble left and right instead of just taking off and going vertical. But still.
Kenneth, do me a favor, Papa. Hold on. We got to take a break because we got our guy Lester Wilfong coming up.
I got you.
Talk to Lester, and me and you will get into it after Lester. Don't go anywhere, folks. Again, Joseph, thanks, Papa. We see you on Wednesday again. We got Lester Wilfong Jr. coming up next from Windy City Gridiron, talking more Bears football with us. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The 3-1 pitch on the way. A swing and a ground ball toward the middle. Baez has it, throws to first. Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills.
That was how it sounded on the Cubs radio network. Alec Mills with baseball's second no-hitter of the year. 12-0 at Milwaukee. Mills improving to 5-3 with the win. He struck out 5 along the way. White Sox ace Lucas Giolito threw baseball's other no-hitter this season against Pittsburgh on August the 15th. As for the White Sox on Sunday, they beat the Tigers 5-2. Eloy Jimenez with a homer. Yan Moncada with 3 hits. Winners of 4 straight, Chicago has a 1-game lead over Minnesota in the AL Central. The Bears open the season with a 27-23 win at Detroit. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him? I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support. From hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6 while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago, and you see our my man who has now grabbed the baton from Joseph Phillips, our guy Kenneth Davis, and man, Ken, I can't wait till you and I talk with something.
I got it. I got that baton right there. I'm ready. I got it.
But Kevin's going to sit in with us. You guys know from 10 to 11. But we're going to bring in our guest is our one of our football guys, and I love this guy. He's awesome. We met a couple of years ago. We got to meet last year, and him and his whole crew are awesome. He is the editor-in-chief. He is the man for Windy City Gridiron, and he can be found on Twitter at Wilt Fong Jr. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, a good friend of the program, Lester Wilfong. Lester, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Doing good, guys. How y'all doing today?
Man, Bears victory Monday, Papa. What are you talking about? I'm doing good.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
White Sox brought out the brooms. Even that other team up on the north side, they brought out the brooms.
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh.
Big weekend for Chicago.
A no up north, too?
First time since 2008. All three teams have been in first place at the same damn time. Chicago is in, and I'm loving it, baby. I'm doing good today. I'm doing good. So let's get right to it, Lester. Talk about the first three quarters, because those are two different games. Talk about the first three quarters and how pissed off were you at Mitch, and how much were you cursing at the TV? Was it as much as I was? Because I was in a bar, so it's expected to be cursing, and it's loud. They had the music going, and people so really couldn't hear me cursing. Oh, okay, maybe a little loud, but everyone was cursing. Yeah. How pissed were you in that first half when you saw Mitch overthrow, underthrow, throw behind all these freaking receivers?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty apathetic watching. I'm like, yeah, this is the same guy we saw last year making the same kind of mistakes. You know, his footwork wasn't as clean as we were told it was going to be. His pocket presence wasn't as clean as we were told it was going to be. I mean, he wasn't awful. He just wasn't the new improved Mitch Trubisky that we all had hoped we were going to see. You know, so I understand that the comeback in the fourth quarter was great, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that. He was fantastic in the fourth quarter, but you cannot absolve him of some of those issues in the first three quarters. You just can't do it. I mean, the flashes were there, but the flashes have been there throughout his career. So again, it's first week. Let's see how things go in the next few weeks, because right now it's the same kind of inconsistent Trubisky.
You know, I was taking notes yesterday, and one of the things, and I'm pulling them up right now, and I was really, Mitch throwing behind the wide receiver early. Then they had A-Rob on an end around on like a 3rd and 1. What the fudge crackers are you doing on an end around? Okay. Then Mitch throws behind Cole Kmet in the red zone. You're like, dude, this guy's 6. He's like 6'12", dude. Throw it at his chest or throw it up above him. Don't throw behind him. And then, 5-yard pass on 3rd and 7 or just before the half. Why are you throwing a 5-yard pass when you need 7 yards? This is grammar school stuff. This is Pop Warner stuff. Pass behind Mooney on 3rd down. All right, he overthrows the tight end on a 3rd quarter bootleg. All right, the pass to Cohen that gets deflected. Underthrows A-Rob on the sideline. I'm like, my goodness gracious. I'm like, this is. It was killing me. And I'm with you, Lester. When they talked about everyone that said, oh, he's a new guy. He's a new guy. Oh, he's a new guy. He's coming in. He's a new guy. I'm like, what's new about him? I'm like, you know what? There's nothing new about him until we see him play. He might come in with a new attitude, or maybe, you know what they say, fake it till you make it. Yeah. Maybe he was faking it because I'll tell you what, he in that first 3 quarters, he solidified. I think in the 3rd quarters, I was yelling, get him out. Get him out. Nick, get ready. I was yelling at the TV. Warm up, Nick. Warm up. And if this continues to happen, and a lot of people are going to say, okay, he came back and again, he deserves all the credit in the world. But we need that in the first quarter. Okay, we need you to come out firing and focus in the first quarter. How long do you think it's going to be before the trigger gets pulled and Nick Foles gets put in? Because people, if you just look at the numbers, Mitch had a good game. If you just look at the numbers. But, man, you and I both know, and all three of us know, numbers can lie.
You know, I think if Foles was truly prepared and ready to go week 1, I think he would have been the starter. I think not having the preseason kind of hurt him, not having the mini camp, not having OTAs. You know, I think Nagy had to go with Mitch at this point because based on what they saw during those few weeks of camp, Mitch probably was the better quarterback. So if Nagy would have went with Foles, who he may have more faith and he may have more trust in, if he would have went with Foles, that's sending a message to his team that the better man didn't win this specific competition. So I think if Foles was ready to play, he would have been a week 1 starter. But it's Mitch now. They have to ride with Mitch, and I think they're going to ride with him until until the wheels fall off. To be honest with you, I mean, they're going to keep him until it's an obvious change. They're not going to make a change until it's something, really blatant out there. If the Bears are winning games, and again, they got the Giants next week, that's not a very good defense. And the Colts after that, again, that's not a very good defense. So maybe as Bears fans, we'll see Mitch Trubisky get some confidence. We'll see him get hot. We'll see him start to build on what he's done, and maybe we'll see that improved footwork and stuff. But I mean, I think Foles is capable, but honestly, neither one of these guys is the long-term answer for the Bears based on what we've seen right now.
Guys, we're joined by Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron, talking little Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
I hate to go into the low-hanging fruit, Lester. How are you doing? It's been a minute since we've talked.
Yeah, doing good.
But listen, so let me get back to the quarterback thing and give a little pushback, because I agree with you. If they had a preseason and Foles had showed that he was superior to Mitch, then it would be easier to go. But I think about Ryan Pace and how Ryan Pace's guy, it's easier to let everyone see your guy fail and then transition rather than to have Foles start. And if he's shaky, to kind of go back to Mitch, because we've never seen Mitch do what Foles can do, and that's a guy coming out of the bullpen, basically. So that's one of my, and also the Lions, who we know, even though he didn't yesterday, Mitch owns the Lions, right? And regardless of how good Brown is supposed to be playing up there, dropping dimes in New York, you know that that's a team, like you said, that they can look at going against. And Indy, we'll see with Indy. So to me, it's one of those like setups, like, yeah, let me see if I can still get my guy through. Listen, I don't even really want to talk about Mitch right now, because the reason I don't have on Bears anything, a paraphernalia like you guys do, after that game, I said I have more questions than I had going into that game. And I'm sitting there, and I had a company come over the house. I had to pause the game. I usually don't live tweet, but I was like, all right, I'm going to start trying to live tweet. And I came back, and the old lady's like, what's wrong? I'm like, they're getting beat by the Lions. Right? And I'm like, it's the Lions. And listen, I think the Lions have improved. You look at all those free agents they brought in there. I think they're better, but I think they're like, oh my God, look out. And Stafford was dealing yesterday. That breakup by Eddie Jackson, that happens. You know what I'm saying? That necessarily happens. But looking at the defense yesterday, and one of the things that we've been talking about, Shawn and I, for weeks, was the fear that that they were going to get ran on. And that's okay. And it's Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson sees the Bears colors and he's a Viking again, basically. You know what I'm saying? But Adrian Peterson, they didn't really let the Swift, and even poor Swift, they didn't let Swift, and they did let, what's his name? I forget the other running back's name with the funny Kerryon. They didn't let Kerryon Johnson off, but it was Adrian Peterson, one of the greatest running backs of all time. But that bend don't break, and usually like that's old Lovey-ish. And they were good at it. But this defense, and I mean under Vic more than Chuck, was more like dominant. The pass rush was not there. It was non-existent. That was a cover sack by Akeem Hicks. When you look at the fact that where were my inside linebackers? Especially when we're talking about coverage. This was one of the things about having these two, let alone Roquan Smith. These guys are supposed to be out there just dominating everything. The defense, which I thought we hung our hat on, I know we do, it looked suspect. And even though I know Stafford's a good quarterback, I expected more dominance regardless if Robert Quinn was there or not. What were your thoughts as far as how the defense played?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the defense played great early. I thought they played great late, but in the second and third quarters, it seemed like the defense was just gone at some point. I don't know if they were gassed. I don't know if they were kind of dejected because the offense was, the same old offense that they saw the year before. But you're right. I mean, the defense we saw was not the dominant defense that we expected. I just hope that has something to do with it being so early in the year, having no preseason. These guys are trying to get their legs still, and I thought we'd see a little more aggressiveness, especially with the Lions missing their starting right tackle and having a rookie right guard. I thought we'd see more stunts, more blitzes at those two over there because, like you said, the pressure, they got one sack. I think they had like 3 or 4 quarterback hits. The pressure wasn't there consistently. I know I saw some advanced metric where Khalil Mack was pretty good in his pressure rates, which is nice. It moved Stafford off the spot, but Stafford's a pro. I mean, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the game today, whether Bears fans want to admit it or not. When he has weapons, he's pretty good, and he understands that pocket. So getting him off the spot is nice, but with a guy like Stafford, you got to put him on his ass.
Real quick. Because when you brought up the pressures point, and that's when we think about Chuck Pagano compared to Vic Fangio. Vic's like to play it straight up. He doesn't like to send extra guys going in. Chuck, and I mean, we saw sometimes like with the run play, okay, they just got it off when he sent, I believe Eddie Jackson. But yeah, he's not blitzing like you thought, especially if Robert Quinn is out. You're going to need more pressure. Get there. And with Khalil Mack, and I put this on the coaches, I wonder if the coaches argue with the refs enough about Khalil Mack being hold, because we're just watching this from home. And I get they can't call holding on every play, but he's being held almost on every play. You know, and it's like you have to put that bug in those refs' ears and let them know, hey, look out for this guy getting held all the time.
You know, as an old offensive lineman, I kind of usually give the offensive line the benefit of the doubt on a lot of things because, you know, you're allowed to grab, you're allowed to do certain things as an old lineman. But like you said, watching Khalil Mack on the edge, he's getting hogtied. I mean, they have their arms up around his neck. Yes,
like this all the time.
It happens all the time, and it's like if your arms are outside the frame of the defender's body, that's a hold. If your arms are not inside and tight, that's a hold. And that's happened to Mac. It's happened all the time. And like you said, you know, maybe it's Mac has to speak up. You know, the team captain of defense should speak up. The coaches should speak up. And I'm sure behind the scenes, because I know each week the coaches of each team, they'll send some clips into the NFL office. Say, hey, here are some plays you guys missed. I hope that happens with Khalil Mack every single week because there's at least 5, 6, 7 plays, if not more, that could be a call to hold on.
This is like the hack-a-shack, where you do certain things because some player is just so dominant that they have to do what they have to do to stop him from dominating, and it just becomes part of their routine.
Yeah,
it's just because if they don't, then he's gonna sack or he's gonna pressure the quarterback every play.
I'm fine with that.
If you don't grab him, I'm fine. The Bears Nation is more than fine with it, But that's what they're going to do. Their pressure, and as an offensive line, hanging out with offensive linemen a lot in college, they were just like, look, put the pressure on the zebras.
Yeah.
Put it on them. Okay. They're not going to call hold every single play. They may call them once or twice, but they're not going to call it every single play. And it slows the game down, and it draws it messes up the flow of the game. He said, so they're not going to call it. He goes, so I'm going to keep if I can't handle this guy, I'm going to keep holding him. I'm going to keep holding him. I'm going to grab him. I'm going to trip him. I'm going to do everything I can. It is not as covertly as I can. I'm not just going to reach out and pull him down, of course. But that's what they're doing, and you're right. They need to do something. They need to send film. They need to not protest, but they need to say, "Hey, listen, this can't go on. All right, we got a guy here who's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and he's getting this is not fair. He's not getting calls that he needs to get because you're letting these guys hold and trip him and pull him and grab his jersey and grab him by the collar. I mean, the dude they had him inside the collar. I was like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. But talk to me about what do you think is going to happen? First of all, do you have any information on Robert Quinn and why he didn't play? And two, do you know if and when he's coming back? Because I guarantee you, Khalil Mack is anxiously waiting for that dude to come back because you know what? That means they got to double team him now as well, and you just don't have enough people to double team him, double team Robert Quinn, and then now that Akeem Hicks is back, and once he gets to the full football form, you got to double team him, and that's 6 people already.
Yeah.
You can't double team everybody.
Everything I pieced together about on social media, on Twitter and stuff is I guess Quinn wanted to play in that game, but the coaches said, let's hold him out. Like I'm sure you guys know, he didn't practice much in training camp. He had a personal issue where he had some time away, and they kind of ramped him up slowly. But then in that scrimmage at Soldier Field, he was phenomenal. I think he had 2.5 sacks in that scrimmage. And from what I understand is that maybe where he tweaked his ankle a little bit in that scrimmage there. So if it was anything serious, the Bears would have put him on IR because with the new rules this year, you can bring a guy off IR after 3 weeks. So if they thought it was something that would keep him out for a few games, they probably would have put him on IR just to have the roster spot. The fact that they didn't do it, they just had him inactive. It tells me that he should be back, relatively quick. I'm hoping this week against the Giants because, like you said, him off that edge, that's something that we've never seen in Chicago with Khalil Mack. I mean, the last time the Bears have had 2 legit pass rushing threats off the edge, you got to go back to the Richard Dent days with Dent and Trace Armstrong. They haven't had 2 legitimate edge rushers in years. So seeing what those 2 guys can do is going to be fun for Bears.
Yeah, it is. And guys, we're joined by Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron, talking a little Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Listen, Alawale Agulia, Alex Brown / Mark Anderson would disagree with you, but I'm all right. I used to watch Dolphin games like, Trace, what are you doing down there? But let me ask you this. I want to get back to the offensive side of the ball. And one thing, again, me and Shawn talk about it later, it's always the run game. Yeah. I feel like they should have brought someone in here. Watching yesterday's game, I was wrong. I still think I will be right, because if one of those guys gets hurt, you're going to be in trouble. Now, your bell cow, who, again, I used to say they need a battering ram. You may have a battering ram, but you're killing this kid in David Montgomery, all right, because he's aggressive. He's not going down, right? Yeah. Only problem still is in that zone blocking scheme, and you got a guy who's supposed to not know the nuances of running the ball in Cordero Patterson, but then you look at little Tariq, and listen, one cut, go, all right? And we all know from growing up watching Denver, hey, one cut, don't start dancing back there. And with Montgomery, even though sometimes he did that, a lot of times it's cut, hop, step. And then he only gets 3 yards, and 8 guys are basically on his back while he only gets 3 yards. I'm still not seeing the vision from this kid. What are you seeing necessarily when he's hitting the hole?
You're talking about Cohen or Montgomery?
Montgomery, not Cohen. Cohen played well yesterday.
Yeah, I think with Montgomery, we kind of saw a little bit last year. We did a little bit of the dancing and stuff, before the hole. But I think the Bears may be transitioning more to an outside zone scheme, which probably is the best thing for the personnel they have right now. So especially with Patterson, with him, he is a guy that, again, you want to do that one step and go. Put your foot in the dirt and get upfield, and that's what Patterson wants to do. And then with Montgomery, I think sometimes he just kind of is overthinking his blocks. I'm not sure if he trusts what he sees in front of him quite yet. I think as last year progressed, we kind of saw him do a little bit more. So again, hopefully this is just week 1 jitters, and these guys are all kind of, playing themselves into shape. This is really the first game speed they've seen. I mean, there was no preseason, the stuff in camp. I mean, yeah, it's live, but it's not live. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that's all this is. And I think we'll see this team get better, but the run game as a whole, though, I mean, you talked about it earlier in the show, it was pretty good. I mean, this is, the Bears, they stuck with it. It was Montgomery, Cohen, Patterson. They all got carries, and they all averaged, the worst guy was passing at 4.8 yards per carry, so, if they can stick to the run, it helps out the passing game, and hopefully that gets Trubisky more comfortable in the pocket with those play action passes.
And the one thing I think this scheme works good for Cordell Patterson, just because of his thing, his one cut and go, and he's not allowed to shake and move, and he's a bigger guy. He's a strong guy. I stood next to that joker last year for week 1. I was like, how you doing? It's a big dude. And, it's Dave Montgomery is obviously shorter and a little more compact, but seeing Cordell Patterson, I like his outside zone because he doesn't go down very easy. Like you're not arm tackling Cordell Patterson. You're not doing that. You gotta bring it. You gotta lay the wood with him. And for that, I'm happy. But I do want another running. I do wish we had another running back because of what Kenneth said. If one of these guys goes down, God forbid it's Dave Montgomery, those two aren't able to carry the mail, so to speak. Let's talk about the wide receivers a little bit for in this part. I was happy with Javon Wims. I'm a big Javon Wims guy. Happy for him in a touchdown. There were still a couple of miscommunications. Talk to me. Was it more Mitch, or was it more the receivers, or was it equal parts of the blame go to those guys just because of the unusual situation leading up to 2020?
Yeah, I think that last part there, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's hard to say, and unless the Bears come out and tell us what happened. I know last year they come out a few times and said it was Miller's fault on a few of those routes. So if they come out and tell us, we'll know, but I don't think they're going to do that this year. I think I'm not sure if the mandate came down from Pace, but it seems like they're going to be a little more close to the vest with kind of stuff to give the media these days. So we'll see what happens. But I thought overall the receivers played pretty good. I thought it was interesting the way the snap counts played out. With A-Rob, he played the bulk of the snaps, but then the other receivers, they were all in the 21, 25 snap count range. So there was no true number 2 in this offense. That could have been a matchup thing. I think they were doing a little more stuff with 2 tight ends and 2 backs in the game at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how they play the playing time out as the weeks progress here. But yeah, I thought Wims was fine. I mean, he had the nice touchdown catch, and his blocking downfield, he's something he has to really work on, because that's going to keep him in the lineup. The better he blocks, because we haven't really seen that much out of Miller as far as being a blocker. And if the Bears are going to be more of a run team, having those big physical wideouts will help them.
Yeah,
You
they
know
will.
what? Sticking with the wideout, I like the rookie, Darnell.
Mooney.
11. Listen, Mooney was he had a little game out there.
He's got
right?
some juice.
Like,
He's quick.
Yeah, like watch
Yeah.
like what, but it wasn't just a speed guy, like the low drop and getting up. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. You know what? Comparatively, it's just not like young Ted Ginn Jr. And I know it's a small window because with Ted Ginn Jr. it was basically like, all right, just go. It was like, okay, shorty, and he's slight. But knowing that you needed somebody to replace what you envisioned Taylor Gabriel being 2 seasons ago, I kind of like if maybe, and it's early, but if you pick that guy up in the later rounds, that was pretty decent. Now, I think we all saw it, even before Jonathan Dillman said it, that our man out there, Jimmy Graham, was jumping off. He was jumping the wrong like that first one. And I'm like, whoa, I was like, he was up before the ball even got there. And I mean, but going into this year, and I had this discussion with people that was like, I don't know about the tight end room. And I'm like, I hate to say it, in some ways, comparably what they had, I'm excited. Of course, with Cole Kmet, the ball was thrown behind him. One thing, though, he should have been leading the ball. And Mitch doesn't throw where you're intended to go. He throws directly at you, which is usually behind you. But he could have got Cole Kmet hurt. But just still looking at that tight end room, I'm still kind of excited. Like what you're saying, Lester, as far as we still have to take into consideration that there's no preseason. And like you said, we all know from playing football on different levels, you may go live a little bit in practice, but it's not like facing somebody you don't really care about their health. You know, like on a game, like, dude, I'm not here for you. Like, I'm coming smashing. Like your teammate, you may tell somebody, hey, we're about to cut right now, so you don't necessarily tear up a defender's knees because, you know, like I had offensive linemen do that for me. All right, like, hey, we're about to cut. All right, I got you.
Back up.
I'm going to go down so the coaches don't get mad at you. You know what I'm saying? And don't worry about it. I got you. I'm not going to leap over you and then go get the quarterback. But still, like that tight end room, what are your thoughts on the tight end room comparatively to what the tight end room used to be?
I mean, they were the stars of camp. If you read all the beat guys, I mean, they said Graham, Kmet, Harris, Saubert, Holtz. I mean, all those guys were really good in camp, and I mean that's what this offense needs. I mean, it's a West Coast offense. You know, they built it around that move tight end spot. You know, back in the day, the old West Coast was the fullback and the tight end. You know, these days it's the Y and the U tight end. So it's kind of different. There's no fullback in this offense per se, but they still do a lot of stuff with the Y. So, you know, having both those guys, you know, be productive would really help this offense. But the thing with Graham, you talked about his timing was off yesterday early. You know, he jumped early twice, but like you said, those passes technically they were drops, but they were not put in a good spot for him to catch. You know, I think maybe he has to get used to Trubisky's the way he throws because, you know, he was playing with Breeze, playing with Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, so he's playing with the elite of the elite. You know? And now he's playing with Trubisky. So, you know, like I think on those 2 drops, the ball was kind of floated to him. He may have expected to be a laser. So maybe he has to understand, okay, in this situation, my guy's going to try and loft it up so I can go get it. Whereas before, his guys would drill it into him. So you will see. I mean, if this continues to be all year long with his timing off, then we're like, you know, maybe he's just getting old and he's at that point in his age. Right. But if he is able to stay dialed in, and I think he will be. I mean, he's not what he once was, but he's damn well better what the Bears had last year.
Right.
So like you, I'm excited to see what this group can do in the long haul.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right because you go from those 3 quarterbacks that you mentioned that he played. You know what? It's not going to happen again. He's going to go to Mitch and say, hey, listen, here's how I want the ball. Yeah. Okay? Give me a dart. Okay? Not a fastball. Just give me a dart. Just give me a dart where I can go. You know what I mean? I can catch it and do something with it after. Just give me a dart. You know, start playing darts. Just give me a little boom. A nice little streak. Just quick and solid. Not overpowering. And so I can do something with it. So I'm looking forward to it too. I'm really looking forward to Cole Kmet getting involved because, I mean, as bad as Mitch played those first 3 quarters, he still did hit 8 different receivers. Yeah. And that's something that's really good to see that he's spreading the ball around like that. And so I'm looking forward to him getting better. You know, fool's gold maybe, possibly with the next couple of games with defenses that are not very stout. But if whatever gives him confidence, if we can get him confidence, so when we do play a good team, and they have a good defense, he has the confidence to excel. Excel and against those teams. Then I'll take it. So we'll see. I'm not, I'm happy. I'm not giving the win back. That's for damn sure. But I definitely get, not gonna. I'm gonna call a spade, and there's just a lot of work that needs to be done. I was just really disappointed with, just some of the errant throws and same stuff that we saw. And why do you think it is, Lester? And this last question before we let you go. Why the hell is it that in those first 3 quarters he looked like, someone who's playing semi-pro football, and in the fourth quarter he comes out like a man on a mission, and he looks like a first-round pick?
I think he mentioned in his post-game presser, I mean, something that he said throughout his career is when he's in those situations, he's just playing, he's not thinking, and I think that he has to get to a point in his career, he has to get into a point in his comfort in the offense to where he can just consistently just go out there and sling it, and if he's still trying to think things through, if he's still worrying about what's going on around him, then he'll never be the quarterback the Bears want him to be. And he may never be that guy. I mean, this could be who he is. He just may be this guy forever, but the coaches have belief in him right now. His teammates all love him. Obviously, he's a great guy. He's a hard worker. He just has to have it all translate to the field. And like we talked about earlier, hopefully some confidence is built here, because he does have some pretty bad defenses coming up. And then if he can prove to be the guy, he'll earn that big deal. If he can't prove to be the guy, the Bears are going to start over.
Yeah, guys, that's Lester Wilfong Jr. We definitely don't need the Bears starting over again, but it looks like that's the road we're going down. Hey, buddy, I appreciate your time as always, man. Do me a favor though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
You can catch me at Windy City Gridiron. We also got a podcast channel. You can find it anywhere. And then I'm on Twitter at WiltfongJR.
Great stuff.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
We'll be in touch soon. Thank you. Guys, that was Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. Man, and make sure you keep it locked right there, because me and Kenneth are going to go, and we're going to have our Bears conversation coming up next right here, Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
A 3-1 pitch on the way. A swing and a ground ball toward the middle. Baez has it, throws to first. Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills.
That was how it sounded on the Cubs radio network. Alec Mills with baseball's second no-hitter of the year. 12-0 at Milwaukee. Mills improving to 5-3 with the win. He struck out 5 along the way. White Sox ace Lucas Giolito threw baseball's other no-hitter this season against Pittsburgh on August the 15th. As for the White Sox on Sunday, they beat the Tigers 5-2. Eloy Jimenez with a homer. Yon Moncada with 3 hits. Winners of 4 straight, Chicago has a 1-game lead over Minnesota in the AL Central. The Bears open the season with a 27-23 win at Detroit. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him?
I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support, from hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6 while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago with guest co-host Kenneth Davis. Oh man, so now it's our turn, man. Now it's our turn to get into the game. And, we don't want to get too long because we do got to talk about the good guys.
Of course,
right?
of course.
And their 4-game set coming up this
do
week.
Do we have to talk? Well, now you ruined all the happiness and the good thoughts because
why?
It's because, man, it's them again. It's tell a friend again. Listen now because the Bears took away some of my White Sox happiness. All right, and we're gonna stick on the Bears, but they took away some of my White Sox happiness. But the Sox were doing what they need to do with that sweep against the Tigers. But when you got the Twinkies coming in, and it's like, man, can you not smack my hand while I'm reaching in the cookie jar, please? You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. And so you know how I feel about the Twinkies. So again, that. But listen, with the Bears, something like Lester was saying. Initially, defensively, I felt good even though they weren't getting pressures because. Listen, Stafford was dealing, but still they were stopping them from scoring initially, right? So I felt like, this defense, and it's early because I think all of us are still meatheads, but we still know it's early and there was no preseason. It's like, they early, good, man. If the defense is playing like this, we'll be good. But then, like you said, in the second and the third, it was like, dude, what's going on? And again, listen, he's old as dirt, but for me, outside of, and I saw Walter Payton. I'm gonna still put Sweetness in a place that he belongs. The greatest running back that I've seen outside of that is Adrian Peterson. You know what I'm saying? He's not even the greatest all-around running back, but just in general, I ain't seen a guy that had that type of speed and that type of strength. I can remember going back and tuning into Oklahoma, and this was probably after the kid at Ohio State that wanted to go pro after his rookie year. That they say, and when you saw him, you was like, get out of here. You can't go pro. Him and Mike Williams at USC, and they told him, no, you can't. I remember tuning into an Oklahoma game and seeing Adrian Peterson his freshman year. I was like, oh, this isn't hype. This kid can go pro now. Like, that's physically gifted he was. So I'll give a little bit of that because that was him and facing a team that he used to dominate back in the days. But still, it shouldn't have went down like that. You know what I'm saying? But the defensive backs, like, Jalen Johnson is young. He has some good plays. He almost had that interception that he almost gifted to the receiver as he caught it. He almost gifted it to the receiver, but he almost had that intersection. I like his physicality. He's a rookie. He's going to have to necessarily learn. There were some missed opportunities from a bust a screen. I felt like he almost died one time when he met Adrian Peterson in the hole. And I said, man, check that boy's sternum because it is hurting. But still, when we talk about it, I don't know, Shawn, let me ask you this. I think Eddie Goldman's a top 5 nose tackle, all right? And that's important if you're talking about top 5. But even him being top 5, I wasn't expecting no pressure on the quarterback or more pressure on the quarterback and for the run game, particularly with Adrian Peterson, necessarily to get off the way that it was. So that, to me, is somewhat concerning. Gibson out there a lot of times. Man, listen, when he's up against, and it's a lot of people when you play up against these huge tight ends. But yeah, there were some questions necessarily to be asked when it comes to that defense. And I don't know if it's just on the players, but it goes back to Chuck Pagano for me too.
Eddie Goldman's huge, literally and figuratively, and him being out was a big factor in them getting gashed. Another factor is the no offseason. Okay, that's another one. Bilal Nichols, as good as he was on the outside, now they moved him inside, and they talked a good game. But as being a coach, sometimes we see, we have, adjustments that need to be made. We got to make a move on the fly, and move a guy from one spot to another. And he does all the right things. He's there for conditioning. He lifts. He was posting his workouts on Instagram. If you follow him on Instagram, he looks bigger. So he did all the things necessary in the off season. But sometimes it's just not a fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nothing more, nothing less. It's just not a fit for you to be in this position. I'm not saying he's not going to make good plays, but he's not 320, 330 pounds like Eddie Goldman. That's a whole other story, man. And in Bilal Nichols' game is quickness, is explosiveness coming off the ball. Okay, and the old saying, if you're even, you're leaving. And his job is to get even with the offensive lineman because once he's even, he's leaving. Mm-hmm. And Eddie Goldman's like, I ain't going past you, but you ain't going past me. You ain't pushing me anyway. That's the whole deal. And he was damn good at it too. So now you have a different guy, different type of guy at the nose at the nose guard position, and there were just times yesterday I'm watching, and he just got manhandled. You know, it's a lot of times you may not have to. One of your sides, you're not going to have to worry about anybody. All right, if you're on the defensive end side, like a Akeem Hicks or a Roy Robertson Harris, there's one side that you know you're not going to get any pressure from. Maybe a tight end once in a while, but when you're in a nose guard, you can get you got the guy in front of you, you got the guy to your right, the guy to your left. You're not sure who's going to double team you and chip you and go to the back on the way to the backer. So it's a little different game. Pagano, I think, also was still not comfortable with that offense. He's saying, okay, I don't trust this offense is going to score and get my back, because if I send some people, because we know he'll send 15 people. He'll try and send 15 people, but that just puts everybody on an island. And if you get burned, because it does happen, they're professionals too. If you get burned, you need an offense to say, "I don't worry, don't trip, we got you." And I don't think Chuck Pagano is still confident enough in his offense to say, "All right, you know what, we're getting that quarterback." But if we don't, and we get in a hole, I'm not, I'm confident that this offense can bring us back. I don't think he's there yet.
What's up, Kenneth? How are you? Good morning.
Hey, Ivan, how you doing, bro?
Chilling. So real quick, so with that, because I had texted you, Shawn, I was like, Chuck Pagano, there's no pressure. Where's the pressure?
Yep.
In between, like there was very little in the first, and there was like none in the middle of the game, and then all of a sudden there was pressure. It was like, the game was 6-6 at one point. It wasn't 23-6. It didn't start out 23-6. At one point it was 6-6. Why did you let up, or why didn't you turn the pressure on then? Why are you playing soft when the game is even? Are you going to play soft? You tell me you play soft to start the game 0-0? You know what I mean? Like there was no pressure in the middle of the game, and then you saw them generating pressure late. So is it like Chuck Pagano not knowing when to throw that pressure out there? Does he not know? I mean, is it him not knowing the Lions that well? I don't know. Like there was just it was a lack of pressure that got me with the defense. I was like, where the hell did it go? Like you have everybody healthy. We talked about everybody being healthy. We talked about
Robert Quinn wasn't there, bro, and that's a whole different story. Eddie Goldman's not there. That's a whole different story.
Okay. Granted, but everybody else is healthy, and you should at least get one. Now you should have at least 1 to 2 sacks. I would say they probably should have had 2 to 3 sacks, because I didn't think the Lions' offense was that good. They played well, but I didn't think they were that good, and they started to slow down later in the game. You know what I mean? It was the Bears' secondary, and it was some of the play calling by, dare I say it, Darrell Bevel, to get those linebackers in a matchup that was favorable for his tight end, or for a speedy player. It was weird. There was just huge holes where I didn't expect there to be huge holes, especially in the middle of the field, and I didn't like it.
And Galladay was there.
I'm telling you, it's Eddie Goldman's gone. Eddie Goldman's gone this year, and now you're going to realize why he was probably the linchpin or the staple of this defense. Akeem Hicks gets all the glory. Khalil Mack gets all the pub, the national pub. But when if you can't stop the run, okay, those guys aren't getting that glory. We couldn't stop the run. Okay, Adrian Peterson is a backup, comes in, gets 93 yards, damn near 100 yards. Their other running back had 70-something yards as well.
Was Swift for carry on? Yeah,
Peterson 14 for 93. Carry on. Yeah, so carry on only had 7 carries and Swift for 3. They only combined for 22 yards. All right.
Yeah. So they stopped them. They didn't stop the king. And listen, I hate to say this. A little part of my heart was kind of rooting for Adrian Peterson. A little.
Yeah, me too.
Especially that time when he hit the cut and he turned left. I was like, look at the old man go. I was like, oh, dude.
I'll never admit it, and I hope no one ever watches it. People are going to bring this back and throw it in my face, but yeah, dude, I got a lot of love for Adrian Peterson, man. He did him wrong.
You remember like those first 2 games against the Bears, maybe the first one, and I remember it was a run to the right, and he hit that boy, and then he put the speed on. It was like, oh my good. Listen, when he dialed back to the time machine, it was definitely great. But I want to say something what Ivan said, because he brought up a good point. At one point, it was 3-3, 6-6, or 6-3, whatever. All right. And if you already know that Robert Quinn isn't there and Goldman isn't there, you have to do something to take care of or to replace what they're doing, especially if you're a blitz guy. I'm not saying let's go to kitchen sink at them. And especially, listen, again, Galladay wasn't even there. Now, initially, You
Hey,
didn't.
Reedy, Brad, thank you very much.
You didn't know the rookie Seuss was going to play as well as he was. I didn't see a corner blitz. I definitely saw a safety blitz in there. But it just seems like even with the fact, and Eddie Goldman is important because that's the initial hit. I mean, so that's important. That's like your guards and your center. That's the guy on the other side of that as far as keeping that clean. He's the guy collapsing that pocket, or he's the guy that's holding up two guys and stopping the run necessarily that's going on. But still, you have an abundance of talent on this team. You know what I'm saying? That let's do. I want to see Roquan do something. I want to see Danny Trevathan do something. I didn't feel like I saw those guys as active in the passing game. At one point we're going to get on Khalil Mack because it's not all everybody else. Some of it's on Khalil Mack to return the form to. And again, I'm not talking about to like 3 sacks a game, but to look more like first-year Khalil Mack than last-year Khalil Mack, because Leonard Floyd was on the other side of that guy regardless, and nobody was necessarily worried about him. But I want to give Khalil Mack props while I talk about what I'm not seeing from the inside linebackers. I saw at least 5 times, if not more, Khalil Mack after trying to pressure the quarterback, being the guy that he's either the first guy tackling the runner or the receiver, or he's the second guy getting in. So he's going 4 or 5 yards in the backfield, and then he's almost 8 to 10 yards going back the other way to get the player that ended up getting the ball from the quarterback, unless it was a run game, unless it was a run. So I do like the fact I see him active, but you still need to just super freaky. Yes, he's being held or whatever, and I don't think it's the same as kind of like Julius Peppers being older and people start talking about how Peppers taking time off or whatever, but still, this guy is supposed to be the second or third best defensive player in the National Football League. Maybe if we put Myles Garrett above him, in the top 5 at least to say, and I need to see a little bit of that, especially when your team needs you. It was good to see him be vocal, but if your teammates don't necessarily believe that's who you are, it doesn't necessarily mean that much.
Now, real quick though, I'm going to go to the offensive line because as bad as Mitch was, it was just inconsistent. I didn't think he was terrible. I mean, he wasn't terrible. He didn't turn the ball over, but I thought that it was still the same problems that we saw last year with the offensive line and with Mitch are the same problems we saw with within those first 3 quarters of the game. The inconsistent offensive line, the pressure was in his face consistently. Mitch was, like you said, he kind of looked hesitant. He looked like a deer in headlights. And then, there was the bad footwork. You started to see the bad mechanics. I think if you have to find out what you did, whatever you did in that fourth quarter to get Mitch to not think, do that. You know what I'm saying? Do that, because if we're going to continue to try to make him not comfortable, we're going to continue to lose. And I don't know who it is at this point. Is it the Bears? Or is it Nagy not wanting to, do the things that are real that really work for Mitch, or is it Mitch that just is like he's just not doing it? I don't know who it is.
It's Mitch, dog. Yesterday's game seemed a lot more like Mitch to me, Ivan. I think the offensive line, that there was some times where defenders kind of got through, but compared to last year, they was blocking. Compared to last year, I'm just saying. I'm not saying like now we got Dallas's line from the 90s or 3 years ago, or the Raiders line from 3 years ago. Compared to last year, they blocked well, and if some of it was, again, he has to be decisive and take off.
Thank you.
Don't put that on Nagy. Nagy's not telling him stay in the pocket. Sometimes especially when there's 2 defenders coming in, and all he has to do is go vertical, just take off. Stop trying to sit there and run around. You are not one of those guys that need to have the ball in your hand going right to swinging around. No, guy. Either get rid of the ball. I know you can't do that if you're in between the tackles, or you're going to take a penalty, but take off. Just know what you're doing. And you just said it, Ivan, and I'm going to tell you that's why it's Mitch. Dude, they're on you. You know what you do good? Run. Take off. And I'm not telling you to do it 10 times a game because we don't want to get you hurt.
I am.
Listen, I'm with you because, and I hate to say it, his health isn't one of the biggest factors because we don't feel like we could depend on him. Now, if we felt we could depend on him, we would want him to be careful in doing this. So I get what you're saying, Shawn, but the fact is that sometimes he has to get back to what you just said, Ivan. Stop thinking, all right, that the coach can't make you overthink in your 3rd, 4th year to the league. This is on you now to realize that when we're in 2-minute drill, it's just like, let me just do me. No, dude, you can set that mindset. So again, I'm not absolving Nagy, but I thought with what Nagy tried to do, I thought Nagy tried to help Mitch as much as possible. When you look at what took place, when you look at, he tried to give him simple throws to calm him down. It looked like he was the running game. They ran the ball. They did not put the ball in Mitch's hands, even when they was down and said, go and win it for us. They still stuck to the run for the most part. So I don't put that on them. I put it on Shorty. Now, if he can sit there for the next 2 to 3 games and play Mitch the first year with Nagy, where he would have that run of games, we'd be like, all right, he's kind of good until he kind of got hurt. Cool. But yeah, we got to stop saying this on everybody else when we know he hasn't lived up to the hype since the beginning. He just had some good spurts here and there.
Somebody needs to tell him that.
What though about this is that I can still guarantee you that Nagy's telling him that he's got to make it in the pocket, because there were times, and we all saw yesterday, when the middle's wide open. It's 3rd and 6. There's nobody within 10 yards of you, kid. Go get it. Because I'll tell you what, the head coach may want you to win it from the pocket and be like a real quarterback, but guess what? He's not going to bitch and moan at you if you continue to move the chains. He's not going to complain that, oh, you should hit this guy. Well, coach, I got the first down, so I got a new set of downs. Because that's in most offenses, and I don't know Matt Nagy's offense, but I'll tell you this, having coached against offenses and being an offensive coach, your job is to get a first down. Get first downs, and especially in this section, where this part of the season when everyone's out of shape, you keep that defense on as long as possible. So you have Mitch running. So now the defensive lineman who just reached at you and now pulling away, now he's chasing you a good 5 or 7 yards. What's that doing? That's taking his win. Now the linebackers who drop, now they're coming. That's taking their win. This is where you need to understand the physically what guys are doing. We haven't. If my guys are tired, my defense is tired. Guess what? So is their defense, because they haven't had practice just like we did. So you use everyone you can. And I've said it before. Stop taking that weapon out of his arsenal, and that's to run. That gets him confidence. That gets him going. That gets him to the point where he can make a tough throw because he has that confidence. And Matt Nagy continues to not do that. Now Mitch has got to step up. His ball's got to drop and say, "Listen, I'm a man now. I need to help my team. Whatever. I know what you said, coach. I know what you said, but I know what needs to be done. Let's get a first down. I need to run." And that's good. He's got to grow up. Mitch is such a great soldier. He'll do whatever you tell him to do. And that's why you see the conflict in there when he's running, when there's a running lane and he's there. He's like, I want to run, but I got to stay. Real quarterbacks win from the pocket. And that's the conflict. Take those shackles off him and say, when you see it, go. Just move the God blessed chains. We'll worry about it 10 yards at a time. Okay, don't worry about 30 points, 25 points, whatever. We worry 10 yards at a time. You move the chains. Now we can continue again, and that's what Matt Nagy. I don't know what his issue is, but that's where he needs to break it down to that micro level. Just give me 10 yards. Somebody
needs to tell Mitch that it's a contract year. Maybe he'll stop thinking and take it serious.
I'm telling you, he's a good soldier, man. He's not that. He doesn't have the individualism, dude. He is a good soldier.
I straight up come up to him and be like, "Duh, bro,
he's a good soldier.
Your job's on the line here."
He's a good soldier. What does he say? I try and do. He always talks about what try and do what the coaches want me to do. That's him. He is a good soldier. He doesn't have that, that broke down, so I'm just going to make a play gene in him, because he's a good soldier.
But wait. Well, okay, there's two different things here real quick. Now, if you're talking about he's in the pocket and the middle is open, but yet there's no pressure on him and he doesn't run, I will put that on Nagy then. And I still don't necessarily know, but I agree with you on that. But I'm talking about the play being broke down. Because Mitch can easily say, "Dude, that dude was on my ass." It was because it doesn't even make sense for him while there's an offender bearing down on him for him to try to throw the ball, because we know it's going to be off and errand. And listen, when the play is broken, and I'm not saying every time, take off. When there's defenders in the backfield, take. I can't put that on Nagy, because I'm sure Nagy's not crazy enough to be like, "Yeah, just let them sack you and let's lose some yards." Like, that's on Mitch. To where the play is, listen, you're not winning from the pocket because there's defenders that in the pocket now. Run, all right, like that's just period. Run, even if you just get 4 yards, keep it going. because that helps you in the future. So to me, I would say this: it's either both of them. But on Mitch, he like you said, he's a grown ass man. All these other mobile quarterbacks were still mobile before they learned to throw in the pocket necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Like the ones that were successful for the long term. You know what I'm saying? They were mobile quarterbacks. I'm not saying that coaches want it all the time, but it's like, hey, it's breaking down. I'm gonna do what I need to do. So I put that on the young gentleman from North Carolina as far as his college. I know it's from Ohio, that necessarily needs to, as Ivan said, go get this bread. And one thing when Lester said, if he gets any bread from the Bears, it better be a Bortles deal. They better get back. Like, I'm gonna give you 2, shorty. All right, like, and I'm not looking forward to it because to me, I feel like, hey, after this season, it's time for you guys to really look at. Let's just say, I don't even care who wins this battle. Let me put it like that. I don't even care who wins this battle. You better take a quarterback next year.
Yes. Yes.
Right? This is the truth. And it's not an Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love situation because neither one of these guys can snip oops. All right. Like, no, you need to set up a guy. And listen, if Mitch goes ahead and shows us 2 to 3 years that he's the man, and that guy that maybe you took in the middle of the first, you may only get a second round pick for him, I'll be fine with it. You know what I'm saying? But at least you covered all bases because again, dude, looking at this defense, and one thing I always say on that Davis show, and before when it was the Davis show, that we all know the window of a defense isn't like having a great quarterback. It's like this. Looking at that defense yesterday, I was like, whoa, the window's closed. Not that they can't be on a team that wins a Super Bowl if you're getting good offensive play, but I'm talking about where that defense is carrying you all the way. It doesn't seem like the same defense from even last year, to be honest with you, let alone 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, but here's the one thing about that defense: they stepped up when they needed. When they needed it, man. You know what? Eddie Jackson was there. Kyle Fuller with the big pick. They stepped up when they needed it, and I agree. And I won't say that this defense, that window's closed. I'll just say that again. No, you're playing yourself into shape. That's it. And so all defenses, I mean, a lot of defenses we're looking like that last year. Not just, and you're human. You know, you can run and you can condition all you want. Unless you play football, you in football shape. Kenneth, you know it. Ivan, you know it. All right, we've all played football, and you can come in the best shape of your life. You do gassers, you can do 40s, you can do 100s. It's not about that. It's about bursting for 4 seconds, resting for 30, bursting for 4 seconds, or 6 seconds if you have a long run, then resting for 30 or 40, and then doing it again and doing it again. And that you only can get that one way, and no team in the NFL has got it. So I think the Bears, the Bears need to. I'm not going to be as hard on them as I want to be because I understand that what the situation is, but it's hurt. It's tugging at my soul because I want to be hard on them, but I do know that there are extraneous factors that are stopping them from being where they can be and really getting a true assessment of who they are.
I'll say this: I want to see them start out games like it's the fourth quarter. I want to see them start out quick. Go out there and even simulate, just pretend, do something. Because whatever we see,
tough, man. Come on. You played ball, bro. You played ball. Don't ask them to do that what's very difficult for other teams to do.
What I'm saying is it looks like in the first quarter that offense doesn't have a clue. You know what I mean? Like, why is it you get a clue in the fourth quarter? Why can't you start out right? Why can't you start out quick? You got
to see what you're going up against.
I like the way they started out last game. I like the way they started out running the ball. But at a certain point, you got to you either have to tell this dude, "Hey, man, you're gonna get fired. This guy's going to take your job in order to get the best out of him, because that's all we're hearing is the best of Mitch. It comes when he's not thinking. So get the best out of this guy, or put Nick Foles in.
Stop giving Mitch passes. It's on Mitch. Like, I don't get how Mitch is the only quarterback. It's like, listen, it's not, and I know we're about to go. This is not Deshaun Watson, who unfortunately is tied to Bill O'Brien. All right, like, Deshaun Watson is a talent. Mitch Trubisky is a dude that has some talent, but yeah, you're damn right, Jason. But Mitch is some dude that has some talent. He said it's privilege. I'll put it out there. He said it's privilege. And we keep making excuses. Dog, it's year 3, and we're talking about starting slow. We're starting slow because of him. They can't start fast because you just said it, Shawn. They got to know what they got. But you meant as far as facing the defense. No, they got to know what they got on how this kid's going to play today. That's part of the problem.
And I think they do know. And I'll tell you this. I think Mitch can be a very good quarterback in this system. Great? No. But very good. But you got to give him confidence. I'm telling you, when you have the mentality and watching him, his mentality of a good soldier is not necessarily a good one to have when you're a quarterback because things break down. Soldiers, you're told what to do and you do it. Okay. When you don't think outside the box when you're a soldier because you're not allowed to. You're allowed to do what you're told to do, and that's all you're allowed to do. Deshaun Watson thinks out of the box. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. All these guys think out of the box. When spit breaks down, when the spit hits the wall, they will go make stuff happen.
I got to push back before I get kicked off. Let me push back real quick. I'm going to use a Star Wars analogy. Do you know why when they had the androids that they went out and the Republic went out and got the clones? Because even though the clones were soldiers, they knew how to at times have to use their own mind and figure out getting out of a plan. So he's a soldier. But he himself, most of these quarterbacks are good soldiers, but common sense is, hey, dude, I got to do what I got to do. So that's on him.
He's a coach's son.
I see
him not trying to offend people and not trying to piss off the coach, dad, at North Carolina. Here, I just see that whole deal. Okay, and I need somebody who's not going to give a damn. Like, I need to make a play. I know what you told me to do, but I see what's happening because I'm on the field and my ass is getting chased by a 240-pound linebacker who came through unscathed. So I need to make a play. I know you want me to do 1, 2, 3 reads. I need to run. He doesn't have that makeup. Why? I don't know. But that's on pace for getting that type of guy.
Even with the reads, and I'm out after this. Even with the reads, it's still locking on to Allen Robinson too much. You saw when you had Graham wide open on the other side past the seam, and it's like, I'm committed to this. That's still on him. Look, you're not going Theo Reese half the time anyway. All right, appreciate it, guys. I had a lot of your time. Tell Jason I said what's up.
All right, Kenneth, we'll see you on Friday, Papa. Hey, that was Kenneth Davis from That's Davis Show. And we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears because Jason Palmer is going to take the baton and take this for the hour, from the 11 to 12 o'clock hour. But we're going to have our first guest on, our last guest on as well. That's a good friend of the program. It is something up there. What happened in the Cup game yesterday, Ivan? I don't remember. Something happened. I know they won, but I think
what happened.
So we're going to talk to our good friend Evan Albert from CubsInsider.com, talk about that no yesterday from Alec Mills. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The 3-1 pitch on the way. A swing and a ground ball toward the middle. Baez has it, throws to first. Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills.
That was how it sounded on the Cubs radio network. Alec Mills with baseball's second no-hitter of the year. 12-0 at Milwaukee. Mills improving to 5-3 with the win. He struck out 5 along the way. White Sox ace Lucas Giolito threw baseball's other no-hitter this season against Pittsburgh on August the 15th. As for the White Sox on Sunday, they beat the Tigers 5-2. Eloy Jimenez with a homer. Yan Moncada with 3 hits. Winners of 4 straight, Chicago has a 1-game lead over Minnesota in the AL Central. The Bears open the season with a 27-23 win at Detroit. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him? I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support, from hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit cvs.com and cvs.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning. I want to bring our my next co-host on. He takes it from the 11 and 12 o'clock hour on Mondays and Fridays. He's a good friend of the program. He's got his show coming up tonight called What's Up Cuz. He's a co-host of it with his cousin Lance C. Irvin, the head coach of Chicago State men's basketball team. He's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Coyden. It's JayCoyden. Guys, bring on Jason Palmer. What's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Shawn? Chicago Victory Monday. Wow, what a great Sunday in Chicago sports, man.
It is. And you know what? We're on our last guest of the show, man. We're going to bring him on because he's going to talk about one of the big things that happened. I was fired up to talk about the White Sox sweeping the Tigers in Motown, but you know what? This team had to go and upstage the White Sox yet again, throwing a damn no-hitter. Goodness gracious. But let's bring out our guy. We can talk to him about it. He's the editor-in-chief of CubsInsider.com. He's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at @DEvanAltman. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Baba? How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing really well. It's it didn't start out like a really good weekend for the Cubs. It looked pretty bad through about 17 innings. And then all of a sudden things changed around late with the Jay Hay bomb. And then Alec Mills goes ahead and says, sorry, Jason, you had enough press for the day. I'm going to go ahead and do something historic. And so, we wake up here on Monday morning. The Cubs have these improbable wins. The White Sox have the best record in the American League. The Bears somehow found a competent quarterback in Mitch Trubisky after 3 quarters of looking like some guy, like everybody screaming for Nick Foles. And then we wake up here and it's like, man, everything's right in Chicago sports, except for the Bulls. But the Bulls are going to get a new coach, and that'll be fine, right? So the teams that matter right now are good. So let's stick with that. I love it.
Ain't that the truth? And that was a big accomplishment. The 16th in Cubs history, 16th no-hitter in Cubs history yesterday, and that was the insult to injury. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I love that it happened this way, because you talk about putting your you're putting your foot on someone's throat, hypothetically, of course. When you have a team down, not only do you beat the hell out of them 12-0, but now you stopped it from getting a hit. Hit them. That is the ultimate insult to injury, and we talked about it earlier. That could be the end of the Brewers. All right. When you close them out like that, not only did we smack you around like you stole something and beat you like you stole something, but we didn't allow you to get a hit. That's a dominance. That's putting an exclamation point against a team that had been a thorn in your side. It was the Cubs and the Brewers going back, St. Louis as well. But I think that was the coup de grace, so to speak, for this year. Anyway, Cubs Brewers. Your thoughts on that decisive victory yesterday with the Cubs over the Brewers?
Yeah, I mean, you could see it even well before the no-hitter was even a thought. We saw the Brewers when the Cubs busted out. They had a big inning early, and the Brewers made all kinds of mental errors. I mean, they just looked like they were checked out. And I think that's one of those things where, if you're a fan of the fight game, you see it kind of like the MMA stuff, and you can see sometimes when a guy gets hit and staggered, and if you let him get his bearings back, he can get going again. But the Cubs didn't do that. They delivered a huge blow. They rocked Josh Hader and had the Brewers back on their heels, and then they dropped a big uppercut on them, and then a couple hammer fists when they were on the ground. And, the ref had to come in and call off the fight. But you saw, Eric Sogard biffed a play over at third yesterday afternoon on a really easy one. Keston Hura had another play where he's charging in, trying to make a throw home. ball just flies out of his glove. And then we saw in typical El Mago fashion when Javi tagged from second to go to third, and then rather than call time and then have the play called or check on Javi, they just go ahead and try to throw over to second as if to check on whether he tagged or not. And Javi's like, it's a live ball. I'm just going to run home and score, and everybody's like, wait a minute, what was that? And at the time, like, I missed it live because I had flipped back to the Bears game because they were actually starting to do well. I come back, I was like, whoa, how'd they get this other run? I was only, it was a commercial. And I come back, it's 5 seconds later. How'd they get a run? They didn't have another pitch. Nothing happened. But that's where, the Brewers they look shook, from the moment the game started. And now you've got a Brewers team that's got to play the Cardinals for 5 straight games in 3 days. They got doubleheaders today and Wednesday. And so we could see some crazy changes in the Central. Like the Reds, who've been out of it all the time, the Reds are out of the playoffs, but they could all of a sudden sneak back up. If these teams split, you've got all kinds of stuff. So the Cubs could gain a game on one of their next 2 rivals without even having to play today. One way or the other, it works out well for them. And so they get to take this momentum because there's nothing like the last 10 innings they've played. You can't feel better than that. And they get to go into an off day, 2 games, another off day. Like they're sitting there feeling great about their position. So that was just an awesome game all the way around. And I haven't even talked about what Alec Mills did, but again, the Brewers looked like a team that just didn't show up to play.
Yeah, I agree, Evan. And living here in Kenosha County, I'm right here on the border, and I can tell you, I think what did it was the Hader game. I think when the Cubs came back and did it off of their best pitcher, it kind of ended their heart. And you saw it yesterday. And just being up here with their fans, they were devastated. I mean, I was playing Scrabble with my wife Saturday night, and she was kicking my ass as usual. And, I was like, oh, man, the Cubs going to lose. They can't get a hit. And they bringing in Hader. That game over. I switched, went to something else, and came back, and they had won. So, those type of losses are devastating to teams. But let me ask you this. How are the Cubs still doing it? How are they still winning, even with not hitting on all cylinders? They've dealt with a lot of injuries. They've had some inconsistent pitching. Lester is starting to show his age. How are they still winning?
A lot of it. So the home run, that was from Hayward, right? Obviously the big one. And that's a guy. So we've talked a lot about Ian Happ and how well he's done and kind of taken over the leadoff spot as well as he's been. And Happ made a great play. One of the few, despite all the balls Mills got put in play against him, there were really only 1 or 2 big plays that had to happen. You always see that in a no-hitter. There's always a big defensive play or two. And Happ made a really nice run and grab. But really, when you look at the resurgence of Jason Hayward, who has become, and he's always been a stalwart there in the clubhouse. He's always been a very well-respected person. But, I wrote about this the other day, and it's really interesting. He's made some mechanical changes with his swing that he looks more comfortable up there. If you look at him, he used to kind of ring the bat like this. He'd get those hands at odds, right? Now, all of a sudden, my knuckles are off. That would happen, and he'd kind of lock those up. Now you see him, and he keeps his hands there. He'll kind of play the flute, so to speak, with his fingers. And so he's not actually crossing up the hands, and it leads to a much smoother swing. But what I love about Hayward, and certainly his accomplishments on the field have been huge. That homer was huge. First hit and first homer that Josh Hader had given up to a left-hand. I'm sorry, second hit because Anthony Rizzo got a single before that. So the second hit and the first homer to a left-handed batter that Hader had allowed this season. But that's something we've seen Hayward do. And if you look at the no-hitter, the Cubs were up 9-0 in the 6th, and David Ross was going to start pulling starters, give him an extra little rest. And Hayward's like, no, I'm staying in. I want to be here for this. And we've seen this from him. We've seen a lot of his activism. We've seen him kind of come into his own. And I feel like this is a guy right now who, we talk about the rain delay speech and whatever, but here's someone who, and that was kind of a behind the closed doors thing. He was a really quiet, humble guy, wasn't big for the outward expression. But I think what we're seeing is at this point, he's finally at this area where he's happy to be a public leader. And I honestly think that has led to him being a little bit more comfortable in the field. Still a Gold Glove level defensive player out there. But one thing I noticed, and this sounds really weird, right? And even to put it down in writing, and I've tried to explain this, but you look at a guy who before, I think the middle of last year, he had 0 tattoos. By the end of last year, he was up to like 12. And now he's kind of covered. And to me, that speaks to someone who is literally more comfortable in his own body and his expression. And I think he's not up there. He's not there anymore trying to live up to the hype of being the next Hank Aaron in Atlanta. He's not up there trying to win a second World Series. He's happy being Jason alias Hayward, and it shows. And that's a dude who everybody wants to follow, right? They wanted to follow him when he's hitting 220 and wasn't doing that well. Now he's hitting well. And I think that's a huge part of what's carrying that team, despite the fact that most of the guys who are supposed to perform aren't. I'm putting it on him, man. I'm hitching my wagon to this dude because I love what he's bringing.
As we're joined by Evan Allman, the editor-in-chief of Insider.com, talking to the Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Yeah, I guess my second question about the Cubs, now we can start talking playoffs. We're going to have both Chicago teams in the playoffs, which I think is just great for the city right now. My concern about the Cubs is now once they get in the playoffs, they're not playing the terrible teams that have been in their division this year. And because they haven't played outside their division, we really don't have a barometer so much, except some of the American League Central teams that they play. What are your thoughts on them as they play some of the other teams in the National League out of the East and of the West?
Yeah, that's going to be the real difficult part. And I think there's a couple ways to look at that. The first of them is this playoffs being the 1 through 8 seed, a 3-game series to open it. You're talking about more of a crapshoot. And that's pretty difficult. Now, the good side of that is with all the difficulties they've had, all the issues they've had in the rotation, the good news is they've got Yu Darvish and Kyle Hendricks locked in at 1 and 2. And I think you're confident in those guys. And we need to consider that the first round is being hosted all 3 games at the higher seeds ballpark, assuming the Players Union ratifies the proposal that's out there. And so that means the Cubs are going to get to host that. Kyle Hendricks is significantly better historically at Wrigley Field than he is on the road. And so now you've got Yu Darvish, who's pitching like a true ace, Kyle Hendricks getting to pitch at home. Really, if they do their jobs, you don't even need your third starter. But now we look at it, we say Alec Mills just threw a no-hitter coming off of a game previously that was maybe his best of the season. So he's had a couple really good ones. John Lester on Friday, despite the loss, which the Cubs lost on a walk-off 1-0, but Lester pitched a shutout game, prior to having to exit. So he looked really, really good. That was maybe his best start of the season. We'll see if he can continue that. But you start to feel a little bit better about those guys. And then if you think, okay, we can make it out of that first round, here by the end of the season, if we've got Jose Quintana back, if we've got Tyler Chatwood back, now there's a little bit more depth, even if they're not going to be starters, that, hey, if your starter is struggling or if you need to piece something together, get a guy to go 3 or 4 innings. And then once you move past that, we look at a bullpen that was initially in shambles, but it's actually been one of the best in the National League over the last couple of weeks. And Craig Kimbrell got a save the other day. He's finally starting to resemble his own old self. Plus, they've got Jeremy Jefferson, Rowan Wick. So now all of a sudden, you've got your back 3 innings figured out. You've got at least 4 or 5 innings out of your starter. And then there's a few guys in there like a Ryan Tepera, Jason Adam. They've looked really good lately. I'm starting to feel a lot better. I mean, this question, had you asked me a week ago or 2 weeks ago, probably very different. But it feels as if that bullpen and David Ross's ability to manage it have really started to improve over the last week. And as we know, once you get to the playoffs, it can't just be about your starting pitching. You've got to have some guys locking down that back end. And I feel like the Cubs are getting to that point.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. Thanks, Ivan. Appreciate it. Yeah, it does seem that way. Do you think these bats are going to come alive? Do you think Javi steps up? Do you think Bryant comes out? Do you think Rizzo breaks out? Do you think Contreras breaks? Because truth be told, if half of those bats live up to who they are, then that first round is a 2-gamer and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And you're looking to go deep into the playoffs. If not, do you think the Cubs can consistently or can make a deep playoff run with the status quo, with those big names? Because you know as well as I do, and we all know, is the playoffs is where you make your name, and that's where the superstars need to step up in the postseason. Can the Cubs make a deep playoff run going this way without their big names carrying the load?
That's going to be the tough part, right? And I think, if we look just at logic and we say, there's no way these guys can all continue to slump at the same time. but we could have said that a month ago. And here we are, still sitting and watching. Although, there's certain things, and we'll have to wait to see how the rest of these games play out. But a game like we saw from Javi, where he's getting a couple hits and making things happen, sometimes can kind of help him move out of that. He seems like he's been in his own head. Chris Bryant's a little bit of a different situation because you're dealing with a wrist injury. And, as we've seen from some others, I would say most notably, Derek Lee had to battle through that for a long time, a guy who was hosed out of the MVP several years ago. And then, again, you deal with that wrist injury as a hitter. And if you just can't quite get that bat whip through the zone, that's going to be really difficult. And so it's going to be tough for Bryant to find any consistency. Anthony Rizzo, you talk about consistency, like that's the guy you normally look to. Those stats are almost the same every year. They haven't been this year. You would expect that to turn around. And I do think there's a measure of, it's a different attitude we've seen from this team than we have in the past, but they've definitely been there and done that before, and they're not going to be overwhelmed by the moment. So I do feel confident in saying that moving to the playoffs will not be a detriment to any of their production because, again, they do know what they're doing in that regard. And it could even be better. And I this is one of those where it's maybe a little bit out on a limb, but it could be helpful that they've got, despite being a rookie manager, that they've got a guy in David Ross who's been working for ESPN the last couple seasons, calling baseball games, talking to members of the front office and opposing players, well, now who would be opposing players, but kind of learning about how those organizations work, getting to see them play over the last couple of seasons. And I know this is a different year, but that could add a little bit to the insight and kind of how he understands how teams operate despite not having actually played against them this season. So I do think they actually have a couple things working in their favor once the postseason starts.
That's a pretty interesting point. I didn't think about that. And his access to all the other teams when you're working for ESPN, and you get stats, you get all that information, obviously because you need to report. And believe you me, I'm sure that went into his mental Rolodex, and he's pulling it out when necessary. So I'm really comfortable with this Cubs team winning the division. I know it's not given yet, but I think it's a foregone conclusion as long as they continue to play the way they're playing. And I think they're going to get it at first place. It'll be good to have two first place teams in there. Who do you think is their biggest challenge? Is it just the low hanging fruit? But who do you think would be? Obviously the Dodgers, they have the best record in baseball, but is there anyone that would give them a challenge like before the Dodgers, or is it just, are we looking at a Cubs Dodgers National League Championship Series?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are the easy answer, right? However, I think there's some potential, right? As we said, it's easy to look at it and say Darvish and Hendricks can get out there, but if things shake out the right or the wrong way, depending on how you look at it, right? We talked about that series between St. Louis and Milwaukee. One of them could sneak up in there, and if the Cubs are that 3 seed, and they could still battle for the 2, but depending on who they're going to play, whether it's the 6 or the 7, that could be any one of St. Louis or Milwaukee or Cincinnati. And despite what we said about kind of stealing the Brewers' heart, that's one of those things where if it doesn't matter how much better you are than another team. Anybody can beat anybody, right? It's a 3-game series, but if you're facing a team with whom you're very familiar and they're also very familiar with you, there's always a potential that they're going to find a way to get over. And we've seen even from the Reds this season, not so much. They're a little bit disappointing, but over the previous 2 seasons, despite having inferior talent, the Reds actually had the Cubs number and were able to get over on them. So they've got a winning record against them over the previous 2 seasons. And certainly, and they did go about improving their team. The Reds have a really, really good rotation that hasn't always gotten the run support. Joey Votto's not playing well, but that is a team when you're talking about having Sonny Gray and Trevor Bauer and Luis Castillo, those are 3 guys that if they're on their game, you're talking about ace level performances that they could run through anybody. And that would be scary to me because they still have that potential. There's still enough time left. And with this 8-game playoff seed, they could jump in there. Honestly, they scare me more. The Cardinals are having to do such a sprint here at the end. Their rotation's starting to fall apart. The Brewers, again, they don't scare me as much. But if the Reds sneak in there, that is a team that could really make some noise still, despite disappointing through this part of the season.
Yeah, Evan, I also think if they have to face Acuna and the Braves, that could be an interesting series as well. I really like Ronald Acuna. Let me ask you this. Any timetable on Jose Quintana, his return? I think that would be a big boost for the Cubs. And then I got one follow-up after that. But have you heard anything about Jose?
They haven't said too much. I know they've mentioned both he and Chatwood making progress. I think Quintana is much more likely to be able to make it back earlier. It was just kind of the lat thing, which I assume was, just that goes along with his odd kind of timetable and then getting hurt right at the start of summer camp and kind of coming back from that. And you kind of wonder how much, right? The body is a compensation machine. And if you're just even have a slightly less faith in that thumb than what you would, and maybe you tweak things just a little bit, and now all of a sudden your lat gets sore. Those are things that can happen. So I think with that, again, you got to watch out for pitchers. I do think he makes it back fairly soon, but with the way everybody else in the rotation seems to be going, and with these days off that they have, I doubt he returns in any kind of a starting role. I think they're really going to try to monitor that closely and allow him to be sort of that lefty long man if they need him to be, and that can kind of protect him a little bit, because as we saw, and he was just about to go back into the rotation. Chatwood had got hurt. He was supposed to step in, then he goes to the IL. So I do think we see him kind of back in that. They're going to ease him in and not try to expect too much from him once he does come back, probably late at the tail end here. Maybe he can play against the Sox and kind of face this old team again.
Yeah, that would be fun. Hey, I'm all for spicing up that series everywhere we can, man. And then my other question is, you kind of mentioned it earlier. We're still waiting for the playoff thing to be ratified by the Players Association. Any word on, a team would host all three of those games, but would they technically be the home team for all three of those games, or would they be the home team for two and the visiting for one? And also with the extra inning rules, have they clarified what they're going to do with that in the playoffs?
Yeah, so my understanding, I'm not entirely sure on the home and away, last bats, which we've seen a lot, right? We've seen it with the doubleheaders trying to make stuff up. We talked about the Cubs and the Cardinals. They had to play all 10 games at Wrigley Field, and they were only supposed to, because of the imbalance, there was 3 games that were supposed to have been in St. Louis that the Cards actually took second bat in games at Wrigley. But my understanding then is that, when we've seen some of this stuff, the runner on second and extra innings, that is only a regular season deal. So that will not be in play, barring some kind of a change, which we have. I mean, we've seen a lot of changes already take place. We've seen the roster rules change mid-season. We've had some other things kind of shift around. So there's always potential. I think the only sticking points are sort of, how do the players get their time off? Is there a bubble in effect like we saw early on with the NBA where you got to stay isolated? Because they do want to limit as much contact as possible. I mean, that's why the teams are hosting, so there's that much less travel. So I am not entirely sure on everything yet, and I think we'll find that out here this week. But to my knowledge, it basically goes back to, other than the DH, we're going back to the regular rules as far as we know them.
Hey, great stuff, Evan. We appreciate it, man. That's why we love having you on, man. And so do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
I will. And before I do that, I got to point to my hat. This is our Avon 11U Rec Plus. I got to give a shout to my son, Ryan, who hit his first dinger this weekend in a game. We used to live in a different part of town, and this tournament was actually taking place at the fields where he first started playing T-ball. So he got his first home run back at the place where his baseball career started. So that was awesome. But if you want to check me out, you can, as soon as I'm done with this, we got some stuff out on Alec Mills over at CubsInsider.com. You can find all that work and some other fun stuff over at Facebook, Cubs Insider. Check us out on Twitter at Real Cubs Insider. And you can also check Real Cubs Insider over at Instagram if that's your jam. So you can find us all over the place.
Man, so you're telling me, so did he knock it over the fence, or is it?
Oh yeah. So he's a switch hitter. He was batting lefty for this one, and he took one out to the power alley in left center. So it was an Oppo Taco, and then I had to go hunt it down. We had a little bat boy try to go find. He found a ball. That's not quite the ball, but he found it. I was like, that ball got chucked out there by. I could tell that got hit by a lawnmower. So I'm gonna go find another ball, and we got it. And I walked away with like 3 extra balls, but it was pretty cool. And the other cool thing about it is. A couple kids on the other team, and they were from that place that we played. We're playing them, and so there were a couple of boys on that team that I had coached back when they were 5-6 years old, again, playing T-ball. So it was neat to see them still sticking with it and playing alongside that. So we had a lot of fun. We won that game, and that was a pretty good moment for him. And so that was again my sports weekend was quite full and pretty exciting. So that was my highlight for the weekend, despite all the other cool stuff that happened with the Cubs and the Bears and everybody else.
Oh, that's got to be awesome. You know, you gotta be a super proud dad, and and I know you're on a mission getting that ball, boy. I know you're on
and that's why I'm glad my voice is still around, because I'm one of the coaches for the team too, and I think I yelled it over the fence. I don't know if it would have made it on its own, but I think I pushed it a little bit from where I was, and I was screaming at him the whole way around. So I kind of lost my voice, but it was a cool moment, man. It was neat. So hopefully the first of many to come. We'll see.
Oh man, that's good stuff, dude. That is good stuff. Hey, thanks again, man. We'll be in touch soon, man. We got a lot more baseball, because we're both going deep into the playoffs, and hopefully it ends up with a red line, one more red line series in October. So
I love it.
Keep our fingers crossed. So, all right, cool, buddy. We'll be in touch soon, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Guys, that was Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com and Milwaukee. That's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Listen, we got to take another break. It's the last break of the show, and on the other side, we're going to talk to Jason. We're going to talk a little White Sox baseball, baby. We're going to talk a little Bears, see what Jason thought about the Bears game yesterday. So don't go anywhere, folks. More sports conversation. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
A 3-1 pitch on the way. A swing and a ground ball toward the middle. Baez has it, throws to first. Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills.
That was how it sounded on the Cubs radio network. Alec Mills with baseball's second no-hitter of the year. 12-0 at Milwaukee. Mills improving to 5-3 with the win. He struck out 5 along the way. White Sox ace Lucas Giolito threw baseball's other no-hitter this season against Pittsburgh on August the 15th. As for the White Sox on Sunday, they beat the Tigers 5-2. Eloy Jimenez with a homer. Yan Moncada with 3 hits. Winners of 4 straight, Chicago has a 1-game lead over Minnesota in the AL Central. The Bears open the season with a 27-23 win at Detroit. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him? I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support. From hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. As you see, my guest co-host, he said he's running the anchor leg in this relay race. Jason Palmer, he is one of the co-hosts of What's Up, Cuz? And they're on tonight at 6 o'clock. And his cousin, Lance C. Irvin, men's basketball coach at the Chicago State University. Who do you got on today?
Hey, we got Melvin Eli from Thornton High School, from Fresno State University, and also played in the NBA for over 10 years. So Melvin's going to come on. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about what it was like growing up and playing for Thornton, and just talk about all the fabulous athletes that have come out of Thornton. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have State Senator, former NFL player Napoleon Harris. He's also coming on. He's also a Thornton alum, and he's going to talk about a little bit of what's going on with the Bears and NFL. And he's going to talk about what it was like growing up in Harvey. And he's got a very interesting story. He's a businessman. He owns a couple of Beggars Pizzas out there in the south suburbs and a lot of other stuff. So he's going to talk about, some of the things that he's done after his career in football as well. So two strong guests coming from Harvey, where they've produced so many professional athletes in all of the major sports except hockey.
Shocking. Hey, sounds like a great show. I'll definitely be tuned in a little later to check it out. You know what? Let's give me your thoughts on the good guys. All right, the good guys sweep the Detroit Tigers, but that's what you're supposed to do, and they're doing it. So I'm more than ecstatic with it. Give me your thoughts, Jose Abreu. They break his streak, and he gets pissed. He was pissed. It goes 4 for 4, 2 3-run homers the next day, and you know what? He did that on Saturday, and I'll tell you what, Jose Abreu, is it? Ozzie Jr. and I were talking because I said put him in. He's a front runner now. He's like, well, have you seen it count? I'm like, I've seen it. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. But man, I think, in my opinion, I think he is a front runner. Give me your thoughts on Jose Abreu in that MVP race.
I think if he can keep it going these last 2 weeks, he's definitely going to get the MVP. Everybody knows Mike Trout is probably the most talented player in the game. But when you look at this Angels team this year, they haven't done anything. Tough luck for Madden after he went out there. But the Angels aren't doing anything, and the White Sox are the fancy new toy out there. And everybody wants to play with the brand new toy. And I also think Jose's age is actually going to help him because he's put in the work. He's had to deal with losing seasons on the South Side for so many years, and he's such a nice guy. And all that goes into the voting from these baseball writers when they go into this stuff. And, they'll reward a guy like Jose, not just for having a good season this year, but how he has been consistently good on some very bad. I think Jose is definitely the front runner for the MVP. It's good to see Eloy Jimenez starting to become more consistent in his power numbers and in his hitting. I think the White Sox offense is very balanced. We're seeing Luis Robert hit his first little kind of slump here during the season. I was glad to see them finally give him a day off yesterday, and they put Gerard Dyson in center field, who I want to see a little bit more of. Got to keep him, active. He's not just a pinch runner. Gerard can, play good defense for you in center field. And, of course, that speed is never going to go into a slump. So I think the White Sox are in a very good position. Very happy to see what they have done these last few series, and now you got to play Minnesota. Now you got to beat these guys, man. This is 4 games we got. You got to come away with at least a split here. But I'd like to see them win 3 out of the 4 just to prove to themselves that hey, we can beat these guys. They got to get over that mental block, and they got to eventually beat these guys in the series.
You talk about Jose Abreu. We're talking about Jose Abreu. He leads the American League in runs batted in again. He's at 48. Mike Trout is second with 39. I'm not sure. And so let me tell you, it could be a situation. Let's say 40. It is 48. It could be a situation where he ends up having more RBIs in games.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. That would be that would definitely go a long way in helping his case. I think you're right. When a guy who's been a model of consistency, except for the 1 year he was injured, he's giving you 25 and 100 every year. Again, except for that, and he's done it all 5 or 6 years that he's been 7 years he's been here. And you're right. Even though writers, we have some not nice things to say about them. They're human too, and they see a guy, a model of consistency, playing with a bad team, as he was for so long, and all of a sudden now, as I said before, last show, Jose Abreu doesn't carry this team, but he carries this team. But by him being in the clubhouse, him being kind of like the linchpin, and keeps everything together. He's the Tim Anderson might be the face of the franchise, And I don't even know if that could be accurate, because now that Eloy Jimenez is doing very well, Yo Moncada is starting to pick it up a little bit. Lou Bob, when he starts getting back, it'll probably be a faces of the team. But I think Tim right now is the face of the organization. But they're going to be faces of the organization, which I think is exactly what it is that they wanted to do. Tim Anderson, he's leading again. He's leading the American League in hitting. He was 351, 352, somewhere in there. I'm sorry. Let me give it specific. I'm sorry. After yesterday, 362, he's batting. So not too shabby, not too shabby. And even though it is a short season, you can't. I can't even put an asterisk by this because of what he did last year. If this was a one-year wonder, a one-year wonder, he came out of nowhere. Like, okay, he had a good 60-game season, but he started. And the one thing that I love about Tim is he continues to improve. Every aspect. Now the only thing he's got to do is just get every routine ground ball and not airmail it or throw it into the ground, because he does that far too often. Because I'm telling you, Jay, if he gets those routine ground balls and gets them at a 98, 99% clip, he'll be a perennial all-star and Gold Glove candidate every single year. And
I agree.
That's freaking awesome.
I agree.
One of the things I want to talk about, I wanted to switch gears a little bit, is because I know you're an official, and the last couple of weeks things have gone off. Our weekends have gone in a lot of different states. There's only a few states that have canceled the fall sports, football obviously being the biggest one. But now there's actually going to be people are trying to get the legislature to overturn that. So there's actually going to be a rally this weekend. September 19th, Saturday, is going to be in two different spots. It's got one cause, two locations. One's down in Springfield from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the State Capitol Building and at the Lincoln statue at 401 South 2nd Street down in Springfield. But the other one's going to be here in the Chi. The other one's going to be here in Chicago, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the James A. Thompson Center, 100 West Randolph. There have been quite a few, some politicians have written to states to allow them to play. Our state is no different. Give me your thoughts on that, because they want people to show up. They want people to Wednesday and Thursday to call your state reps. And isn't that Napoleon Harris? Isn't he a state rep, or is he?
He is, and it's one of the things I'm going to talk to him about tonight on the show. Yeah. Good.
Then they want you to bring an appropriate sign, so they don't want your mama's a hoe or anything like that. I don't think that would be appropriate. So, and then they want you to wear your team jersey, your colors, or whatever. So they got this big thing planned for Saturday. They want high school football to be reinstated, I guess, back into the fall season. Give me your thoughts on it from an official's perspective. Well, as a fan, but also as an official.
This is a terrible idea. This is a terrible idea. People never cease to amaze me that now, it's bad enough we have the college football players who are out here risking their lives for no money for them. We're now going to do this for high school kids, according to some people. I think what has happened is, so the state of Iowa was able to successfully pull off a baseball and softball season in the spring. And I wrote about this story in Referee Magazine. It was my article. I wrote it myself. And it was quite interesting. While they were successfully able to pull it off, they also had to eliminate about a total of about 40 baseball and softball teams had their seasons ended because they did have someone associated with their program test positive for COVID. So, that's the part of the story that people are forgetting, that there are still people going to test positive when you try to do this. There is a rally. There are people that are trying to do this. And this is basically a money-driven initiative by a lot of these schools, these school districts. They're making their money off of the football season and the souvenirs selling and all that stuff. And that's basically why they want to do it. But, if you're not even having the kids in school for in-person learning, how are you going to have them do sports. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, Shawn. I think no matter what they do, and what basically happened was the IHSA has also petitioned the legislature to allow the IHSA to kind of make some of these decisions. They want a little bit more say in this. I think the result of this is that Chicago public schools still will not play, because I don't think Lori Lightfoot is going to have it. I think there will be some renegade schools that around the state that will try to push forward and do it. As a sports official, I've said it clearly before that I'm not officiating any games this fall. I made that decision months ago, along with my wife, that, it's not worth it for me to be out there. Despite me losing a significant amount of income, I'm in a good position, so I'm not putting myself out there. And, I'm not planning on doing anything until the spring, when my sports are technically supposed to come back. I'm not surprised about this. I think in recent years, we've seen people now try to bypass their state associations and go through the court systems to get things done. There was a story here in Wisconsin last year of a state champion wrestler who got kicked out from a match for unsportsmanlike conduct, and he was not going to be allowed to defend his state title. His parents hired a lawyer and challenged the ruling, and he won. And, I think this is, again, sending the wrong message to our student athletes that even when you're wrong, if your parents got enough money or enough influence and they can go to the court, they can basically get you in. And we're seeing that all around the country on stuff now. People are not taking whatever these state association bylaws are, and they are made by all the schools, and they're trying to bring in the courts to overturn these decisions, whether it's eligibility issues or, just the right to play. It happened last year in cross country, last year when Chicago public school teachers were on strike. And the rule was pretty clear. If your school district is on strike, and it, Shawn, if your school district on strike, you're not supposed to play. Well, the lovely parents at Jones College Prep, which we know is very influential with politicians' kids, and right, yeah, they parents, right, their parents got money and all that. They went to court and got their little children to be able to run in cross country, and even though they got smoked, the kids were able to run. I just don't like that part of it. I think, again, it's teaching the younger kids a very bad lesson. Let mommy and daddy step in, and use our influence to get you out there. Now you're willing to put your kids' health at risk. So, I'm not going to be out there, but I'm not surprised about it.
What do you say to, because there haven't been a lot of large numbers from what I'm reading of COVID cases throughout the country because of football games, or, at least after week one, because there have been 2 weeks now where they played. So you figure at this particular point, you should start seeing more, what if there aren't a lot more? What if there aren't a lot of cases of COVID? I'm sure there's got to be one. There's not to be right. Silly about it. But what if there's 100 cases? 1,000 cases across the country. That is still minimal because there's over 1,000 games. From freshmen to JV to varsity. What if the numbers are extremely, extremely low? Would you support the state of Illinois? Going back and allowing a modified schedule for football?
Well, I think here's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. The IHSA in the state of Illinois did set like a bar. They want to see the cases below, I believe, 5%, if I'm not mistaken, is what they said. And, no new cases, or, the cases at a very minimal amount, and then they will allow it. So they did say that. They never said it has to be zero, but it does have to meet a certain threshold. And unfortunately, we're not there yet. What we're seeing with these cases across the country is that, it's going up and down. It's going up and down. It's in waves. It's pretty much what the scientists said we were going to see, that we'll see these kind of up and down things. But most of the times when we see it going up, it's when we've had large gatherings of people together.
So you're saying, Jason, the experts in the area are pretty much knowledgeable in there.
Yeah. Go figure.
Okay.
The people the people who do it for a living happen to be right. So that's
very interesting.
Right. So that's what we're seeing. I just think people are they're losing patience. Everybody's frustrated. I don't think the political climate in the country is helping everything. And, you know, people are going to be people. And that's why I said before, people have to make their own personal decisions. I mean, if I had a child, I would not allow my child to play. That's me personally. But I know people right now who have their children out playing different sports. So, you know, it's kind of up to you, but I'm trying to keep myself in the never got infected category because people who've had it and survived it, you know, and I'm actually working on a story for the Chicago Crusader of African Americans who've had COVID and survived it, and what are some of the long-term effects they've had. I mean, we're seeing it with Johan Moncada on the White Sox. We're seeing it. You know, yeah, he survived. He looks healthy, but you know, he's telling you he's feeling the effects from having the COVID, you know, a couple months ago. So, you know, people willing to put their kids out there and risk it like that. More power to them, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. So, guys, if you're interested, this Saturday down at the State of Illinois building, the John A. Thompson Center, down 100 West Randolph Street in Chicago. And again, if this is an initiative you support and you want kids to play, you know, athletes, parents, friends, fans, you know, all sports, all activities, not just the football team. There's other fall sports as well. All are welcome to come down and participate again. Make sure on Wednesday or Thursday you call or email your state reps. Wear a mask down there if you plan on going. On Saturday, bring an appropriate sign. Okay, you know, when we talk about no one's mama. Okay, they effing better do this or effing better do that. Not the way, definitely not going to help the cause. And then wear your school jersey, T-shirt, or anything. And this is if you support the cause. And it's, you know, there's going to be a lot of people down there. I'm torn. You know, if I see, you know, because you know me, I love football. I think football is a great thing and to help young men. But I also like young men being alive. I like that too. So I'm kind of torn. You know, I really am. I don't know if the numbers go down again drastically because this is going to be after the third week of high school football in most states. If the numbers go down drastically, you know, then I may have a stronger stance. I'll maybe hop off the fence like, okay, yeah, let them play. But that's what you said the state of Illinois said too. So there's got to be a, you know, but part of it is these kids don't want to listen. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to stop going to parties and kicking it and doing all these other things. And then you know, you're not doing what's necessary. You know what to do. This is common knowledge. We all know what to do to help stop the spread of it. So stop doing what they tell you not to do. But
you know, I heard a really good saying the other day, and someone said biology always trumps ideology. Biology always trumps ideology. So ideologically wise, we all know you're supposed to be wearing your mask, social distancing, and doing this. But biology speaking, we know young men want to be in the company of young girls. You know, if the NBA players can't do it, you know, exactly. So, you know, they're not going to practice it. Their biology is telling you they're not going to do it. Young people are not going to do it. Adults are not going to do it. Our biology will always trump our ideology. So, you know, you just have to understand human behavior. And I think that's the thing a lot of people are not putting into the equation.
You know, that makes a lot of sense, which is why, you know, you'll always see last few days, you'll see this college, this particular college, a big party got broken up, or over on the West Side, a party got broken up. And, you know, there was no social distancing. Well, I mean, come on, Jay. If you're going to a party, are you going to be wearing your mask at a party? You know, if you're a kid in that age range, are you going to a party? You're trying to holler at some girl, okay? You're gonna be wearing a mask? Come on,
right?
You know darn well it's not happening. So they got to understand it, and hopefully the cases, you know, we see a good a big enough fall in numbers, or if it stagnates, then it'll bring the state of Illinois or the IHSA back and say, hey, you know what, now we can revisit this and maybe we can start a season. I think that would be great, but there's things you got to do beforehand, and also it's not just the kids who are the athletes, it's also their friends who are having parties, and it's not just everyone at these parties aren't just athletes. These are people who aren't athletes, or so they've got to it's got to be a concerted effort on all parties involved. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So again, Saturday at 10:00, State of Illinois Building 100 West Randolph. Be down there to support the cause. If this is a cause you believe in, and there'll be a lot of people down there. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee there'll be quite a few people down there checking it out. Moving on right before we close the show, your thoughts, man. The Bears with a big victory yesterday. The first time in 7 years they've won their opening game. Thank goodness. But it was ugly. But you know what? They don't ask you how you got it done. They ask you if you got it done. And the Bears got it done.
Right. You can't always count on luck, but luck does count. It's the way I look at it. They showed me they're still the same team, Shawn, is kind of what I took away from it. I was really disappointed in the defense. I thought the defense had a terrible game against the Lions. I don't know what to say about this, but it's like you see the same old thing over and over again with this franchise. I definitely think Mitch Trubisky is benefiting from white privilege. I don't think a black quarterback would be given nearly as many chances as this guy is being given. He is who he is. He has terrible mechanics. He throws off his back foot. He can't read defenses. He can scramble very well. He plays better when he's not thinking. And his coach doesn't recognize that. The Bears need to be running a hurry up offense all the time, because that's where his strength is. Just run the hurry up offense, man, all the time. And you can still do that and run the ball out of our formation. You can do all those things, but his coach doesn't recognize his players' strengths. And that's very disappointing to me, man. When he's able to get out the pocket and scramble and run and not really think as much about what he's doing, when he's playing instinctively, he seems to be fine. But if you try to make him sit there in the pocket and figure stuff out, he's terrible. So, I'm very disappointed, although happy with the win. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the movie White Men Can't Jump, when the girlfriend says, sometimes when you win, you lose. Sometimes when you lose, you win. And sometimes you tie. They won, but they really lost because they looked terrible. And had my man not dropped the ball, they would have lost. So, just very disappointed. The thing I was actually kind of surprised about that went off a lot better than I thought it was going to be was actually the officiating. I thought the officiating for the first week of the season was actually pretty doggone decent. And I thought it was hilarious. The dude got himself kicked out of the game.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Here's what they're doing to me. Boom! Come on, bro. You understand? This is Pop Warner. You can't touch the officials. You can't touch the officials.
What was he thinking? What was going through this man's mind? Well, like you're taught, like you said, Pop Warner, you're taught you never touch, especially the head judge. You never touch him. You never physically touch him. Never do anything. What made you think that you were going to use this man as a prop? What made you think? This is not improv class. This is not Second City. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you go ahead and spear this man?
I will tell you what, though, the one call that really got my goat, and they were talking about all morning, was that Rams Cowboy call down late in the game, where the Cowboys had a 46-yard pass, and Jalen Ramsey pulled the LeBron, because they're both fighting, and they're running. You see him, and all of a sudden he's like, like he got trying to make the play, and they called the flag. I was so mad. I was like, you know what? I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I'm like, that's such bull crap. I'm like, that's bull crap, because you know what? He beat you, because you know what? Because he was Jalen Ramsey's holding my man's arm. So they're hand fighting, and he's got his right arm locked up, and he's trying to get his arm out. And I was watching Dan Orlovsky this morning. He's like, well, you see extended. I'm like, yeah, he's extending it because the guy is holding his arm. He's trying to get his arm out. You can't hook a wide receiver's arm. Why do you hook a wide receiver's arm? Because now you don't run as fast, so now you can catch up. Okay, so he extended to one to get free, and two and help create some separation, and he caught the ball. And then I'm telling you that LeBron thing and then I sat there, I was cursing at that, and luckily they had the music going too because it wasn't a Bears game, so they had the DJ was playing, and he was kicking it too. Boy, I was about to get up and dance, but that's another story. And I just cursed at this TV for 15 seconds because I was so mad at that call. And again, I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I just think to me that's like pitch framing. You bringing it back in. Like, no, if I have to bring it back in, it's not a strike. I got to move my wrist and hold it for you. It's not a strike. Because if it's a strike, I'm gonna hold it. I don't need to move it at all, and So that really bugs me. That call bugged me. But other than that, the officiating seemed to be pretty good in my estimation. That's not something I really look for, unlike you, because I know you. That's what you do. So, I didn't have any major thing except for that one call in a game that I really had no dog in the fight. So.
Right. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job for week one, again, for them not getting any reps and, when them putting new rules in place and everything. I just the dude getting kicked out, I couldn't stop laughing. I literally laughed for like 3 minutes. And because the funniest part was he was like, well, what did I do?
Like he went back to the huddle and stood behind everybody like everything was cool. I'm like, man, what is that? Like he's right there. Like, look.
Had I known that spearing an official was frowned upon, I probably wouldn't have done it. I didn't know.
and it's bad when your teammates don't even support you and your coaches won't even argue for it. They're like, man, just go to the locker room, man.
Nobody's looking at you, everybody's looking up.
Or they get the look. They gave him the Eli Jimenez look to Lou Bob, like, really? Really, bro?
Oh God, that was funny.
Hey, listen, guys, 3 hours is come and gone. What a great show we had. I want to thank Joseph Phillips for sitting in for that first hour. Kenneth Davis for sitting in for the second hour. I want to thank Lester Wilfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron for coming in and talking a little Bears with us. I want to thank Evan Altman for coming in and talking about that Cubs no-no and the Cubs victory yesterday as they stay to the top, first place of the NL Central. I want to thank my man Jason Palmer for running the anchor leg from the 11 to 12 o'clock hour. I also got to give a big shout out to our technical director, Elliot Baez, our social media guy himself, Clarence Council, my co-host in absentia. She'll be back with us on Wednesday, Maya Kai, and my man. We couldn't get him in earlier because he was working, getting some stuff together. He is our Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife. He is the man behind the curtain, the Wiz, we call him, Ivan Vargas. All of you guys and ladies, thank you so much. You made it a phenomenal show. We're going to go on a 46-hour break, and we'll see you back on Wednesday, 45-hour break. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. 45-hour break. And we'll be back on Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. So for Jason Palmer and my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas.
See you guys on Wednesday.
I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. I got a couple words for you. 1, download the app. Download the app. Download the app. 2, like us on YouTube. Like us on YouTube. Like us on YouTube. And 3, we out.